my best friends. Some people say we have a problem, but every night I'm making new best friends, and the only problem is we like having a good time.
Hello. Good evening, love wrestling. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. and you know what that means. It is another episode.
What does that mean?
Between Two Beards. Pluggo, my friend, got a big one tonight.
I know I got to be on my
big one
best
tonight.
behavior because this guest we've got coming on here in mere minutes.
He'll set it straight if you start doing your normal bullshit.
A fan favorite of our bosses, so I got to be good.
He is. All right, we got a big
P's
one tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone that's already hopping in the chat. Good to see you. Throw your comments. We have a special guest that's going to be coming on just momentarily. But before that, right out the gate, I want to thank our main sponsor, RK Athletics. Rich King, professional wrestler. Our guest probably knows him rather well. Maybe we'll dive into a little Rich King talk. But he's also a personal trainer, and he has, if you're looking to get in shape, I know I need some. If you're looking to get in shape, maybe nutritional help, all sorts of stuff to kind of, start working out a little bit, feel a little better physically, our friend Rich King at RK Athletics is the place to go. Follow them on all social medias at RK Athletics ones that you can see right below me on the screen there. So give them a follow, give them some love. And if you are looking to get a little healthier and stuff like that, they are the group to go to. Rich King is the man to go to. So go check them out at RK Athletics 1. All right, Pluggo, before we get our guest on, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
How's the week been so far?
It's been a week, man. It's always a week over at the Pluggo household.
What's going on, Dale?
We make it happen. Thursday nights are my favorite night of the week. So, hey, I made it. We're here. I'm healthy. Let's go. We got Dale in the chat. We got Ryan, Colpito Swags, Turnbuckle Talk, AK Carl's here. It's going to be a good night.
It is going to be a good night. It is going to be a good night.
Feeling good.
Part of the reason why, we do have a lot to talk about. But like we've been saying all week, you saw it on the social medias. We talked about it on AES last night a little bit. We have a special guest this evening, and we are not going to wait any longer. We're going to throw him in.
He's chomping at the bit.
He's chomping at the bit. We have the Lion Warrior here. There he is.
Nice.
There he is.
Bobby Sharp.
Bobby Sharp. Look, I like that. I like that pose. That's a great pose right there.
God, look at that back.
Yeah, hey. Here he is himself.
Oh, you thought that was your burner account.
That's somebody else.
You have a question, Colpito? Drop the question.
Uh-oh.
You know how the show works?
Yeah, right, I know. But I want to thank Bobby for being here. We're real excited to have you on this evening.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for being here.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Here we go. Answer some questions.
Should be good.
I already got him.
I know. Colpito said he had a question, but then he's being quiet. He's being a smart ass. He's being a smart ass.
Why are you in a hoodie? Because this is a sweet hoodie.
Yeah, it is. That is a sweet hoodie.
I'm in my basement, and it's a little chilly. I like to stay. I like to. You got to look good.
Yeah.
Opposed to comfortability.
And then right there, all back, Bobby Sharp. That was a nice looking back. That was a nice looking back.
The reason I'm not looking like Bobby Sharp. Well, the reason I'm in a hoodie is I don't look like Bobby Sharp.
Yeah, fair.
Let's just talk about how you get your back looking that good.
Brother. Vitamins, brother. Prayers, milk.
Oh yeah.
I gotta get on the Bobby Sharp regimen.
I know, right? Pluggo, you want to lead us off? You got a question for us?
Well,
how do you want to do
you're
this?
here, and I'm excited to have you. I actually wrote some stuff down.
Oh, taking notes, moving up in the world, getting professional.
So why don't we just start it off? It's well publicized, and I just watched the interview the other day that you did with Bobby Munson and Papa Smokes, who will be on after us, where you were out 11 months with a full hip replacement, and you decided to. You told in the interview, you said. You were more worried about the comeback date and then to see what happens next. And you made your return at LPW5. So my question is more of like leading up to the LPW5 stuff, which we're going to dive into. Mm-hmm. How does that go? How does a year off with a full hip replacement? Like, how does that help your mental state going? Like, am I coming back? Is this, what's just going on there for you?
It definitely doesn't. It doesn't help your mental state because, when I was going for this surgery, it wasn't a specific, it wasn't a specific injury like a torn muscle where if I don't get the surgery today, I could have faced deformity. It was just for quality of life. So getting the hip replacement right at the start was mentally the hardest thing, because there's pain. I expected that, but not being able to walk and shrinking away, and then thinking, not being able to wrestle anymore, because this is what I love. You'll notice as we talk and go on, I don't know much about anything else but wrestling. So, but this is kind of like I'm invested in it. Like, so not even be able to really, and I could watch it, but then you want to do it when you watch it. And I just, I knew as well that I needed this to work, this was my last shot. So if I did something stupid and took a wrong step or tried to get in the ring too early, or, I couldn't even imagine how bad it would feel to take a bump in the ring and have your hip pop out. Like, I don't even want to think about that, so that was it. Mentally, every single day, I didn't know if it was just touch and go. And I would maybe make hints to that to some people, but I tried to avoid going to the shows because I didn't know if I would ever get to wrestle again. It really was just, I had no precedence, nobody I knew that had a hip replacement this young, but guys like Roddy Piper had a hip replacement and wrestled Hulk Hogan in a steel cage. Guys like Undertaker had a hip replacement and wrestled the Hell in the Cell or whatever there. So it can happen, and it can be. Here's another one. Eddie Guerrero had a complete hip replacement, which a lot of people don't know this. Yeah. He had a hip replacement after his car accident in WCW. So his entire run in WWE was with a false hip or a hip replacement or hip repair. Wow. So that was motivating.
I was going to say, that had to be some good motivation. Like, hey, I can do this. These guys did it. I can, it's possible,
there's a precedent for other people. So that I just wanted to get kind of the downer stuff out of the way early with that, because we're going to go all up from here. But you did touch on it, like going to shows. You probably didn't want to, on top of not being able to do what you love, and then having everybody asking you when you're coming back, if you're coming back, probably is not the best thing for a guy in your situation.
Yeah.
But
repeating the story and saying the same type of thing, because obviously everybody's going to ask. It's just how the locker room life goes. That started to become a mental toll, which is unfair to my friends, because it's not their fault. They're asking how I'm doing, but to explain, this is why I'm on the shelf. I don't know if I'm coming back. And then 5 minutes later, this is why I'm on, I don't know if I'm coming back. And so going to the shows and just not knowing, then watching it, I want to wrestle. And then also you're standing around. So that wasn't really helping me at all. So, I mean, I felt like, like a lot of people said you could still contribute, and I still feel like I could with other roles. But my main goal was I need to see if the wrestling thing is going to happen again, and then I can figure out the rest of the contribution later on. And these 11 months, I need to basically put myself and make myself a bit of a hermit and have that laser focus, or else it's not going to work,
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I want to dive into kind of whenever you were growing up or whatever, like what's the first, I usually ask a lot of our pro wrestlers that we have as guests, because I want to know, because I remember the first wrestling event. I remember the first time that I saw professional wrestling, like on TV. My dad was watching, and I was like, what the hell is this? And then it grew into 30 years later, I'm on a podcast talking to you, and so like, what's the first memory or the first maybe professional wrestler or event that you remember that kind of got you absorbed with professional wrestling? I know you said a little earlier, like you really only know, you don't know much besides professional wrestling. Well, what was that first core memory or first thing that pops in your brain that got you into wrestling?
It kind of came in stages. Like I have memories of, because my sister was a huge wrestling fan. So that was kind of how I got into it, because she would watch wrestling in the early mid 90s. So through her, I would get into wrestling. So my first memory of a favorite wrestler or like that type of thing was Diesel was my favorite. And I remember the Bret and Owen stuff just because of being Alberta. That kind of stood out as something special. Then there was a period of really not just living life or whatever. I started getting back into it with her. We started watching end of 1999 when things started getting a little bit more popular, I guess. The Attitude Era was hitting off in stride. And it just, I started to become like, I don't even know how old I was, 8 or 9. I started to become mesmerized with like the matches. I didn't like, all my friends were into, the storyline and the Undertaker kidnapping Stephanie and blah. But I really liked watching how the matches were paced, and the moves and the chain wrestling and the There you go.
That's become a like a friggin' prop now for Pluggo. He's handed off a fancy water every show. Doesn't she know we have a damn guest? Anyway,
I thought she was going to be here too.
I know you were waiting for yours, right? I know. I need one.
This is Pluggo. We need you to make a trip out to Canada and Boston. Get this done. Oh, water's good. Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that just made me laugh. No, so then like weird things like that was what I started to notice, and I really started to like the wrestling aspect of it. So, but what probably made me more than anything start to want to be a wrestler, or at least go in this direction, because as a kid you kind of have that pipe dream anyway.
Of course.
I had a friend that I met on when the internet just kind of came out, or people just started getting it early days. I joined a wrestling action figure forum on the internet, and I'm from a small town in Alberta, or just outside Edmonton, called Sherwood Park, but it's just a unique town. Not many people would, especially back then. So I guess this other member randomly I made a post, and he found that there's somebody else. Not only are they from Canada, Edmonton, but they're from Sherwood Park, where I'm from. So he sent me a message, and the two of us started talking, arranged a day to hang out and blah, 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 and started to become friends. That was a guy named Brady Roberts. He does a podcast now. He used to wrestle a little bit too. Mm-hmm. His dad was the referee for a local wrestling company.
Nice.
So we had two other friends. There was a group of four of us. Were given the opportunity. So the promoter basically saw a chance to make a couple bucks. So he saw an opportunity to open the classes to the four of us, like 12 years old, 13 years old. So the opportunity to do it became kind of like a chance to do something active with my friends that I enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And then it grew on that. It became so much more, but that's kind of how it started. I didn't think of like becoming famous or anything like that. I just saw it as an opportunity to do something I kind of enjoy with friends. And then I was like, oh, this is a good way to make friends.
Yeah, that's cool.
Little did I know, So,
yeah, right.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
JPJ likes to yell at me for things, so I'm not going to steal your question, but I think that's he had a great question off air that kind of circles back into today, if you want to
Well, yeah. So obviously
I don't want to steal it because it's so good.
well, don't. I'll fight you.
No,
obviously, you've been an independent wrestler for a while now. Your debut was 2003, I believe. Was that correct? Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, we're coming up on 20 years you've been doing this. You've worked at numerous independent promotions throughout Canada. So, after your surgery, when you were, you're getting closer and you're starting to think, oh, I can come back. I'm going to come back. What about LPW, Love Pro Wrestling? How did that start to get involved with that? And like, what about Love Pro Wrestling made that the place that you wanted to have your comeback?
So I was on the outside looking in very much at the time, and there were lots and lots and lots of options, obviously, to choose where I wanted to wrestle when I came back. I consider myself, I'm humbled to have that luxury that I got that option. When I was cleared, I was given the chance where I can talk to a couple companies about this. Me and Spencer aren't super close, but I've always respected them. And like, we've always been friendly and definitely say hi whenever we see each other. What drew me to this was that, first off, the shows look very unique, and the production value was something I considered very important and of high quality, because that's where independent wrestling is going. You can't just have whatever anymore. You got to have the production behind the show as well.
Yep.
And I love that presentation because it gives us as performers and wrestlers or whatever so many more tools to use to get the show overall better. So anyway, that option I liked. Plus, I like the matches. I mean, I like the venue. I came and checked out a show, and I really liked the crowd atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And then I thought the name, it's a good little guy. I love pro wrestling, so pro wrestling is the way. It's the way to go. And so I knew I was going to eventually be on the show with all these guys anyway, but I wanted something special or different because, at least in my mind, as egotistical as I might sound, I would say coming back from this is a unique opportunity, or at least not many people would get this chance. Like, this isn't just a normal injury, I guess I was coming back from, in my mind anyway. Yeah. So I thought me and Spencer put together a lot of hype behind just having a first match instead of just announcing it. And I thought that was pretty cool as well. So and he's been nothing but supportive and pretty cool, and everything we've talked about has so far come forward. So I mean, that's kind of why I picked it, though. I thought it was different. It was a unique opportunity to work with somebody I've never worked with before as well, and he checked all the boxes for everything else I mentioned. Yeah.
I don't usually argue with our guests, but I can't believe Spencer's cool. He's always giving us the business.
Yeah, I mean, he always just yells at us because we spend all his money. So.
Don't believe I used the word cool, just to be clear.
He might be right. He might be right.
But no, I will say, don't clip this, Alex. I don't want this out there on the Ethernet. But yeah, one of the things that I have said to Spencer, and it's not just because he's the boss or the El Capitano, is the presentation there at LPW is next to another. I feel like there's even bigger indies than LPW that don't have that production value. So that is definitely one of the things that I love about that. So let's get into a little LPW talk, because you came back, you got your first match back. The thickness, Reed Matthews. Yeah. I thought it was a nice return, good match. Going into that, is there nerves? Like, are you behind that curtain, like questioning your abilities in the ring? Like, can I still do this? Mm-hmm. Are you a step slow because you're like, oh, the hip, I don't want to push it too hard? Are you just going out going, I'm going balls to the wall, I'm back, baby, let's go?
That's kind of both. Like, I had nerves, but it was a different type of nerves. There was it was a weird anxiety type of thing because I wasn't sure what would happen, but I wasn't sure what would happen because I was going to go balls to the wall. So that was one of the reasons I said when I first thanked the LPW crew, was just that he gave me the chance to have this match and blah, blah, blah. And it went great, but he also gave me the chance to took the risk that I could have crashed and burned, which is something I don't think a lot of because my family and a lot of fans are like, oh, you'll be fine. Even other wrestlers will be like, you'll be fine. I don't think they knew that it was still, I wasn't sure if I would be, I could take a step, my hip's going to explode, and then we're just going to have a 2-second match and people go, oh, okay. I don't know. I did some training and I practiced, but it's not a match. So I was nervous just for the sake of my own future, and then hoping that it would be of something of quality, and then thinking if I'm going to go all out and I can't continue, at least I went all out in this one last match and I got to do it. Because I also was going in it thinking this might be it too. So I was like, at least I'm more prepared now than I was before the surgery. So yeah, but I was willing to go. I was going to go all out. I didn't want to take a comeback match easy either, because I had a lot of options where guys would be like, we can just put you in a battle royal, or you can just fill a spot on the card. And that's fine for a couple bucks, but I didn't want, say I fill a spot on the card and then it ends up being my last match. And if I have the luxury to have an option, I'd rather take the option of the match with Reed and then crash and burn. But I didn't, and it went great. And after the match, I went back to just the normal pre-match jitters instead of having a pre-match collision.
that was almost right on cue.
Speaking of the match back, if I could follow up really quick, and you mentioned Reed Matthews. That was the first time I'd ever seen him. That's got to be because this is a two-way dance. There's a lot of trust in your partner. Now, before the match, is he coming up to you saying, "Hey, do you want me to take it easy?" If you mind pulling the curtain back for us a little, what's that conversation like between him? Because there's a lot of pressure on his plate to give you your first match back, your match back, and make it a banger, so to speak, as everybody wants.
I was given options, and I picked him because I knew he would, and I let him know before he even had a chance to even talk to me, probably before he even knew he was wrestling me, that he didn't need to take it easy. And what I told you earlier is basically what I told him, and he was totally down with it. He also wasn't going to be I don't know the word for it, but somebody to push me back too. It was kind of like, I'll let Bobby decide how far he wants to go, and then however far he picks, I'm there, kind of thing, So instead of being like, are you sure? Right. I don't recall him saying that once. He might have had that look on his face, but he didn't. So I couldn't, in my mind, I couldn't have picked a better guy for the options I was given, for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. And then, obviously you're here with us now. You're going to be part of LPW 6. So I'm assuming after the match, physically, the next couple days after that, you felt good. You felt like you normally did after, or was it a little sore? Obviously, first match back in 11, 12 months, I'm sure you're going to be like, oh, I remember that soreness. I remember those things. But everything with the hip in it, you felt good to go. You felt really confident about, all right, I'm good to go. I'm feeling good here.
It felt great. It was I'd been able to wake up without pain, but this was the first match. And the next day I woke up and I didn't lie there and my hip wasn't throbbing the next day. And that was an incredible feeling. I do remember I had a soreness in my upper chest, and I was kind of like, why does this hurt? And then when you take a back bump, you slam your arms back, and I guess just from not bumping and then doing a match, I had soreness in the muscles in my chest and in my neck and stuff. But yeah, it was nothing like before. So that was awesome. Pretty encouraging. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Good to hear, obviously. So,
and to just piggyback off of those questions again, he mentioned LPW 5. It seemed like it was a good night, good atmosphere. Obviously, the atmosphere there won your heart because you're coming back. LPW 6, July 29th in Edmonton, Alberta. And you had mentioned in previous interviews that you like wrestling new people and getting new experiences, not having the same match over and over again. And I think we found that partner in T.Y. Jackson. He's young, he's hungry in LPW. I am excited for his future in LPW. How excited are you to have this match with him?
I'm hyped. He's one of those guys that definitely, when I was asking around, his name was always on the top of the list. And anytime I ask, or they ask me who you're wrestling, and I say him, they always go, "Oh, it's gonna be good," kind of thing. So I'm excited, and I like him. So I mean, he's willing to work hard, just like I know I am. So the thing about working the new guys too is that there's tons now. There's not new guys, but the roster is full of guys that I personally haven't wrestled or feuded with. Nice. So there's a lot of opportunities for a lot of fresh matches, which is super exciting for me, considering like that's what I love, that's what I prefer. But I mean, having the great matches with the same guys is great, but I think having unique changes and in different matches is how you grow as a performer, and you put on unique shows. So yeah, with him, he's like the perfect guy for it, because like never wrestled him before, but he's probably top 5 local guys right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're
good. No, you go.
I was just gonna say on top of that. So you had your first match back, Reed Matthews. You got the jitters out of the way. You said, that was something that you just wanted to have, get it over. Not get it over with in the negative sense.
I get what you're saying.
Get through it. Move on to the next one. Now we got a hungry T.Y. Jackson coming in. What's the next step? Now that we're going to be 2 matches back, are we talking LPW Grand Championship, LPW, Challenge Champion? Where are you thinking here in the future here in LPW?
That's always going to be the future goal. I'm very much like a wrestler's wrestler. So winning a belt is a championship title in any company is the main goal. But at the same time, I also want, because the way I'm looking at this stuff now is because wrestling was taken away from me, and now I didn't know I was getting it back, and I have it back. I want to go and have as exciting of matches as I can. And if I can go out there with guys that aren't the champion, but I know I can have an exciting match for the next little while. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to get, some matches that I can hold dear and look back on 10, 15 years down the road and go, that was a cool match. That was a good opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And then once I get those matches out of the way, then I'm definitely going to go for a championship.
You heard it here first, Michael.
Inevitable. It's inevitable.
MRB. It's inevitable,
Breaking news here. Bobby Sharp's coming for you.
Yeah, we want to say hello to a couple new people that popped into chat. We are here with the Lion Warrior, Bobby Sharp. If you guys in the chat have any questions you want to ask Bobby Sharp, throw them in the chat. We'll show him so he can answer any questions that you guys have.
About anything. It doesn't even have to.
It doesn't even have to. Yeah,
nothing's off limits.
Yeah, nothing's off. Yeah, so obviously Pluggo just asked, hey, I know we got to take it day by day, but what the future holds. And I know you had mentioned some things that stuck out to you about Love Pro Wrestling when you were in the process of choosing when or where you wanted to make your comeback. Besides the things that you mentioned previously, like I know you've only been, at one show and did the one match, but and being, me and Pluggo are from the States, so we haven't been able to get up there and watch a show. We watch them on the streams, and they just look like they're just a blast, like a hell of a time. The crowd is into it. Obviously, Spencer's into it. The wrestlers look happy to be there. It just looks like it's cult, and we're not even at a year. Like, they had their first event, or we had our first event last November. So we're not even at a full calendar year, but we were mentioning PWI, and we're making some waves in Canada, So from some, besides the few things that you mentioned that drew you to Love Pro Wrestling for your comeback, like, are there any other things that you think sets Love Pro Wrestling apart, which is why it's getting so much buzz early on, and just like how big or how exciting that this newer company, let's face it, it's a new company, is looking and looks like where it's going to go down the road?
I think he's offering a product that is unique, even though maybe it uses guys locally, but he's introducing enough unique talent to this area that people don't get a chance to see. So the quality of his shows, because of the imports, can be considered as like of the top quality you can get.
Yeah.
And I mean, like mixing it in with the local guys, so you get your chance to see 10 guys you love to see, and then they get to partner up with all these great people from across the world that normally wouldn't be here because they're not former like big names like WWE. You wouldn't bring in Brutus the Barber Beefcake type of name. You're bringing in independent. I'd always looked at it like,
what a shout.
I don't know why he popped in my head. You can get an 80s legend that kind of wave to the crowd, and then on top of it you should bring in a guy that can give you a good wrestling match. That's how I always viewed like Danny Duggan, CWE's model was that they would bring in the legend to bring in the casual, and then they would bring in the wrestler like a Roderick Strong to give them the wrestling match. So so that's what I like about LPW. He's bringing in the indie guys that are giving, I hate to say indie guys, but you get what I mean. They're national level for sure. And I mean, like, it also opens the doors for me to ask my friends, to kind of be greedy in that regard. But like, these are guys that normally wouldn't be brought in by another company, but Spencer would bring them in. And I mean, they would put on a hell of a match, I know for sure. And like, so I think the word of mouth is getting around about the matches. Definitely. People it's also got like a lot of foundation between the crew behind it. A lot of people support it. A lot of people really push it. And I think that's going a long way. There's social media advertising, but then there's something different about, at least the way I saw, because it gets a lot of notoriety, and then it makes people pay attention, when they see those posts and see people sharing. Like Pat LaPrade putting that article out was he was pretty much forced to, because they were making a lot of noise out here with the LPW. And he's going to keep doing it.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing,
That it opened our eyes as, again, two people from the States. I love independent wrestling, and I feel like I have a good hold on, and I say this every time we have LPW people on this show. I say, I open my eyes to just a new set of people that I love the production value. And you talked about all those new eyes, so I have to ask, will we see Lola Lodge make an LPW appearance? Are you familiar with their work?
I heard she's undefeated in professional wrestling. I heard she was trained by one of the best. You never know.
We were asked by a certain somebody.
We were told to mention.
Maybe not asked. We were kind of told by a certain somebody. I'm sure you could guess who it is.
Yeah, you'll never know. I'm sure she'll. She's been requested for so many bookings past Halloween. It was very surprising because so we'll see what happens. I think if it would open the chance to let Lola wrestle all the girls in the company, and then have a whole new whack of people to wrestle, she would definitely be down to do that.
And we do have Cheesy Bum 1988. All right.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Being that your sister got you interested in wrestling, is she a wrestler as well?
No.
All right. I'm assuming
she's a huge wrestling fan. She takes a lot of the photos of the shows. Cool. She's kind of I don't think she thinks she is, but she's definitely a regular, where if you say, who do you see at all the local independent shows, and you mention her, a lot of people would definitely recognize her. So she takes a lot of the photos. And this is a shout out, if any of the guys want to use her photos, she's totally down with that. Nice. Anybody can just add her on Facebook.
It's
I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but you can find her pictures through my page.
There you go.
It's kind of like that Jack Black of School of Rock thing. Just because you're not in the band, it doesn't mean you're not in the band.
Exactly.
You need good photos. You need good promo pics. Speaking of family, your wife, Kat Von Hees, is also a professional wrestler. What's that like at home? Is that like a competitive thing? Are you like jealous, say they get a booking, you get a booking, or is it like is it a team effort? Who's winning one-on-one? How's that work at home? I'm super intrigued because my wife and I aren't wrestlers, and we're super competitive.
Yeah, I'd say we're competitive, but not when it comes to like the booking sides of things, because honestly, this is going to sound kind of messed up because of what it is. We view it as we got another shift at work, even though it's a job we love. Yeah, it's a job we love and stuff. That's kind of how. And then when you go, you got your ideas and blah blah blah. When it comes to critiquing each other, it's tough to watch her matches because critiquing from her husband's different than another person. So we don't really get into that as much as we'd like to say. I wish she watched more wrestling with me, but sometimes I make her do that and stuff like that.
You don't want to over critique because you end up on the couch type deal, or or if you under critique, she's like, "Wait, are you saying I'm not good? Like, are you just saying?"
That's what she does. Yeah. There you go. That's exactly what she does. Yeah, it's like no. You know, the headlock didn't look good. She's like, well, then I'll never do a headlock again. Like, okay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not just kidding. But yeah.
And we got a comment from Dustin. He says, round of applause in order for the LPW Rec Room partnership announcement. That was amazing. We're going to have all our events there through the end of next calendar year, 2023. He says many, many more LPW matches in the future for Bobby. We certainly hope so. Certainly hope so. That's a huge deal. And again, being from someone who obviously hasn't been able to get up, my plan is hopefully sometime next year to get up there. I would love to, obviously, be a part or show up and at least be a fan. But that venue, at least from all I could see in a camera stream, it looks dope as hell.
Yeah,
it looks unique. It looks just cool as hell.
It's something that's really cool about a venue like that a lot of people actually maybe didn't even think about. So when you have like the sound vibrations from an audience, so the audience goes up and the ring is down, and sound can travel easier down than it can travel up. So I find like when you're in the ring, the crowd is really, really loud, and but you can turn your head, and because there's a stage behind you, you can tell where there's no audience. And this might sound bizarre, but the wrestlers will know. So you have this like vision with your ears of where the crowd is at all times. And I found that's a super unique, because like it just adds to that atmosphere and adds to them being a little bit louder when they don't need to be, but it's different for a performer than most places.
Yeah, it looks like it is a very standout, very cool, unique. So I'm very excited to eventually get up there and be a part of the show. I just want to be in the atmosphere. Like I said earlier, it looks like it's always a blast, and the shows are fun and the matches are good. And I have a few local independent companies around me that I go to the shows when I can, but it feels like so far, at least with LPW, and I know this from talking to Spencer about it, like he wants good stories. And I know you said when you first got into wrestling, you were more of a match guy. You watched the matches and you like the moves and the stuffs like that. But for me, I like the fact that an independent company will keep long form stories, because it's independence. People are going to come and go, and you're going to have different matchups and fresh things like that. But if you can keep a basis of pretty good stories, I think that will set apart. Because I know, like my local independent one, like there's a few stories, but mostly it's just people coming into wrestle matches. You know what I mean? And you get to see, like you talked about, you get to see the cool people that you don't see all the time, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But for there to be stories that you can invest in too, especially if you're a local person that's going to be going to the Rec Room every month, like you want that investment of your time put back into it.
Yeah, and the stories that I find that he does they're simple. They're not so complicated. Like that was something else I meant to say. Like even with the moves, the simple stories, like two people fighting over a belt is an easy story to tell. Taking these characters that they establish on the Archer Report, which is kind of a cool, unique thing for these guys to take advantage of. And then they can intertwine these characters through these stories. And you can see like how Zoe's climbing the ranks and stuff like that. And you can actually see how she's battling from underneath, or you can see how TFA is defending her belt, and how MRB and Stephen Crow and TFA have a little stable going on. And you can just see, but it's simple, and it's the characters as opposed to like he stole Bret Hart's ring jacket, and it's or like stupid things like that they're not really doing. That I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. And then we got our friend Hab Guy saying, oh, I love when an independent promotion has storylines that last for months. And then Dustin on top of that saying, something LPW does that I enjoy is the long-term storytelling, something you don't always see in indie. Yeah. So it seems like that's something that's going to draw a lot of people to want to stick with watching an independent promotion, as if, you know, yeah, you want to go. We're all wrestling fans, so you want to go see banger matches and you want to see top quality performers wrestle. But like I said, if you got that story behind it, that's going to keep the people coming back every month because they're going to be like, oh shit, you know, if it happens, oh, you see that guy attack Bobby Sharp last month? Like, I want to see Bobby Sharp kick that guy's ass. You know what I mean?
Me too.
And that's
me too.
Exactly. And that's, you know, it just adds on to what you're doing and how, you know, you got a good thing going. You know?
We shout out
keeps the guys happy.
Our good buddy Tim's in the chat saying he does have a question for the guest. He wanted to know who you thought was going to win the NBA Finals.
How dare you? See,
I knew JPJ wouldn't ask it, but
because I'm from Boston and we lost. So that's why he's doing that.
I think the winning NBA team will have African Americans on the team.
There you go. There you go.
I think so.
That's it. Fair.
Over 50%.
Unfortunately, it wasn't my Boston.
Tim agrees with the half guy saying,
but that's it.
Warrior Wrestling does have some good storylines as well.
Yeah, Warrior Wrestling.
And I feel like LPW is getting to that mod. They're not there yet in terms of the higher profile that Warriors, but they're doing the nice mix of like independent talent that you don't know while bringing in a few names to draw some eyes. And they're not overdoing it, like you said earlier, bringing in just some guy from the 80s to wave and do a 2-minute match and be on his way. And I love what they're doing at LPW. It is just phenomenal stuff. You are killing it as well, my friend.
Thanks. Only 6 shows. That's another thing. Is it only 6 shows?
Yeah,
exactly.
Old, you know.
Yeah,
the ball is just starting. Yeah,
literally, it's still in its infancy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's still a baby company, and it's all to have this backing. And like you said, it's not just the press or like the pub that's going on, but the crew that's behind it, and you hear the wrestlers when you see other interviews, and you hear the people talk about their experiences at Love Pro Wrestling. And it's all super duper positive. And I can tell, you know, by you coming back and, you know, I can tell the wrestlers like being there and they want to come back and wrestle more for LPW. So, you know, it's just you know, for it to have what it has behind it already 6 shows in, it's truly remarkable when you think about it. Yeah,
exactly.
I always ask this question to all of our guests from up north, because I do feel like down here, Canadian pro wrestling is slept on a little bit, which is weird to me, considering how
you're preaching. You're preaching, man. You're preaching.
So when you get a new company, and it doesn't even have to be LPW, but just what kind of, and the noise that they're making, but what does that do for the scene up there? Does it revitalize it? Does it become like a healthy competition amongst neighboring promotions going, we got to do what these guys are doing, we got to show out, this is our opportunity type thing? Or
so the thing about Canada is obviously all the major cities are so far apart, but there's still an area where there's like 1 million people in this little area. Drive 4 hours, it's another area. Each area in major city, there's room for a top tier company to take the spot, and a lot of them have it, but a lot of the times there's not enough. There's either that company is not taking the spot or someone's not stepping up. You can look at like the rotation too of like which is the top company in each city from Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, blah 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 blah. So the top spot in Edmonton was up for I wouldn't say up for the taking. It would take some work, but the work was put in, and the areas that were lacking elsewhere were basically taken advantage of to improve on. He made a lot of noise. I think when he first started, it was a company that drew a lot of attention. They did it right from the get-go. So right now, I think there's 2 companies that are kind of neck and neck as far as being the top company in Edmonton are going. So, but LPW is making a lot of noise in this area, and there's the area for them to do so. So Canada doesn't have too many. COVID kind of screwed things up and a couple things before, but I would say like super promotions and stuff like that are really becoming something special is just a recent thing for Canada, because for the longest time, like if you weren't in Ontario, there really was no standout show outside ECCW and CWE pre-2018, and then the issues with ECCW happened, and that spot out there came open to become the top company. Right now, BC's got like 3 or 4 that I would say are like, if you showed that to somebody from anywhere in the States, they would go, this is a top quality company. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like if you showed it to anybody, the presentation needs to be like at par or better than what they think is a normal company. Yeah, so that's what LPW I think is doing. Like you could show that to somebody and they would instantly go, "That's cool production value." You know, how it's black on the outside, light in the ring, blah blah. So
yeah,
We're gonna take credit for that on this show.
Yeah, I know.
That's
and
not
it,
us.
you know,
Yeah,
it is true. Like, you know, and like working for Love Wrestling on this side of things, the content side of things, like it has opened me up to a ton more Canadian professional wrestling. Like being in the States, the only time you know about Canadian professional wrestling is if there's Canadians in one of the main companies, you know, and then, you know, like the Hearts, obviously growing up in the 90s, like, yeah, they were royalty, Brett, all of them, you know, and like they still are, obviously, but like if I wouldn't have had access to any Canadian wrestling things if I didn't see the Hearts on my TV, or Edge and Christian or Jericho, but those are the guys that, you know, have made it really big and have had long, full careers down here. Like you don't hear about the independent side of it. So being with Love Wrestling these last couple of years, and now especially with Love Pro Wrestling, it has opened my eye to a lot of talented guys and girls up there that are doing really special things, like really special things. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of libraries of companies up in Canada. If they ever get released, found, or anything like that, you'll be very surprised at how many companies had TV runs here, or how many companies had 20, 30, 40 shows in front of thousands and thousands of people over those shows that were top tier companies. And maybe they folded for whichever reason, or the run wasn't as good anymore. But like because like I've been wrestling and in this scene pretty deeply for the last 20 years all over Canada. So I know kind of which companies really stepped up. And like there's a company, say in the Maritimes from 2000 to 2002 called RAW, that they were the first company that I saw where I was like, wow, this is amazing. They had like Titantrons and they had like Video in the year 2000. Yeah. So there's a 2-year window where they had weekly shows or something. And this is where like the Gary Williams and the Chi Cruz and Joe Legend and like the Kurgan, all those guys, Brody Steele and stuff, and were working for their company. So there's a library somewhere that somebody owns. It might be New Scott. That has what I would say like 30, 40, 50 weeks of television that's like would be considered fairly awesome if somebody could get a hold of it now. And stuff like that. Like Monster Pro Wrestling had a 10 to 12 episode run of like really top notch, not heavily edited, like edited in a positive way. I mean, like, openings and videos and CGI effects and all this kind of stuff for 12 episodes that was on Shaw Cable. That's awesome. Right after. So they had ECW. Remember WWE's ECW, and then when that ended, our show came on right after, and we had bought that time slot. And there were 12 episodes that I would say like they might be online. The show's called Aggression, but like it was a pretty solid little 12 episode run. So there's tons of companies if you could find them around here that were like that nobody knows about today unless you were here living the scene or living it. Yeah.
Exactly.
We had a couple questions.
We got a couple questions in the chat. We also
welcome. Big Ben is angry.
Yeah, we got Big Ben is angry is here. He's here, friend of the show.
Heard me talking about RAW. Ben?
He did. He said, "Bobby mother effing sharp, good brother." That's what he said. But we do have
Cheesy
Bum said, "Yeah."
Are you planning on keeping this to one promotion or two, or are you going to try to work everywhere now that you're back?
Kind of going to keep the matches limited, but I'm going to try and work as many places as possible, but not as many shows as possible. Gotcha. So all right, you'll be able to see, because I kind of want to go to all the places I've wrestled before and at least have one last match for all these companies, all these new things. So I'm in talks with a lot of them. I guess I really can't say because you never know if it happens. But I would say like prepared to see me in just about every province up to. I probably ain't going to Quebec anytime soon, but every other one.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. And then we got, let's see here.
Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody.
I know everyone. Yeah.
So, like,
do we consider Brock Lesnar a Canadian wrestler? I mean, he's from Canada, is he not?
Yep.
He's from America, but he lives in Canada now.
Yeah. So. Where's he with? Is it Easton? Kindersley? Yeah, it's Kindersley or Easton or something like that.
Somewhere where there's no people because he hates
no people, farm and ranch. You know, that's where he's staying.
Hey, I'm kind of curious where his ranch is because we drive by that area all the time, and I've wanted to look, but I'm assuming it's probably like an hour off the highway down a dirt road. You know, enter a password, open a bloody gate, and stuff to get there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then we got Tim asking, what's your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, he said, who is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling? So
wrestling, anything? Like,
probably anything. Yeah.
Gorgeous George, Ric Flair, Undertaker, Steve Austin.
All right. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
So we're having a night. Bobby, you're more than welcome to stick around. We got some goofy stuff planned. Have you ever seen Star Wars?
I guess some people I guess haven't. No, I guess I've seen
he was one of them. Pluggo was one of them.
If you want to stick around, not only are we
we're
gonna talk some wrestling throughout the week, some SummerSlam stuff, get your opinions on just like the insiders behind the scenes kind of thing. I got to review Star Wars, so I could use another set of eyes or ears to help me with that. But we also have a major announcement. Lawrence has been sitting backstage patiently waiting. He's got something coming up on Love Wrestling he wants to announce. So if you don't mind, we're going to hop him in, let him make his big announcement, and then kick him to the curb. No, we love Lawrence. Lawrence,
here. Hello, my friend. This is making his Between Two Beards debut tonight, Lawrence.
First time, long time, big fan.
Yeah, good to see you, my friend. But yeah, like Pluggo just said, you got something big coming up towards the end of the month here on Love Wrestling. So let the people know what it is, what's it going to be, and give the people the update here.
So, like a lot of people, we've been a little bummed out by the news that's happening on your side of the border, and we've been looking for ways to help. So on July 22nd and 23rd, and it's a way for me to further abuse myself on Love Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be organizing a 24-hour live stream with a whole bunch of friends. There'll be giveaways, guys, for Dar Amazing to watch Pluggo win. We are going to have a live Quizplex, a special edition, among other things. We're going to have a bunch of faces from Love Wrestling bobbing in and out, and to support the National Network of Abortion Funds, who do a great job of not only helping pay the cost, paying transportation, helping people if they need food during their time, and all the costs that might be involved with the surgery and everything like that. Yep.
It's okay.
Celebrating NHL draft night.
Yes, he is. He's got his Canadians gear on. They had multiple picks, but they had the number 1 pick overall.
But that's going to be an awesome time. I know that JPJ and I are excited to figure out where we can fit ourselves in there. If you'll have us, I don't know if you will, but we would love to do some work on that as well.
Yeah, definitely going to want to hop on and support that. But that's going to be good. 24 hours now. Is your plan to be on the stream for the whole 24 hours, or are you going to be trying to pass off the buck here with hopefully guests and things like that? Or are you doing it? Are you going to be the marathon man?
I will be there in some way. I'll be either producing some stuff, but I will this is also a person who is generally asleep by 9 p.m. So this is a massive undertaking, a truly terrible idea.
Yeah.
This will be 70% sleep stream of just me passed out in the chair.
Whatever gets them views, baby.
Spencer trying to weekend in Bernie's me.
That should be fun. That's really good, and it's for a good cause. And Pluggo and I will definitely be a part of it. I know we're going to try to even get some LPW people involved as well if they can hop on and say hello. We're going to have some
Bobby
friends.
Sharp, he's got the
maybe. So we're going to try to get some LPW friends on. We'll definitely have some people from the Love Wrestling side of things. So that again is, would you say it was July 22nd and 23rd?
Yeah. It'll be Friday to Saturday.
Friday into Saturday, 24 hours. So that should be a plan. Pluggo and I are definitely going to be a part of it. We're going, even if he doesn't let us, we're gonna force our way on. One way or another.
Flagship, damn
it. Playing games, talking to friends. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it should be a very, very good time.
You come on our show and you don't let us on the stream. What the hell?
I know.
No Pluggo zone.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, Lawrence, we appreciate you, man. Tell the people where they can find you so they can keep up to date on the announcements leading up to this awesome stream before we get you out of here.
Yeah, you can follow me at CartsANDG. I'll be putting up a bunch of stuff coming within the next few weeks. We'll be working hard on it. And you can also, on the Love Wrestling stuff, we're going to be retweeting and putting everything up too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Lawrence, we're going to have to get you on here as a proper guest sometime, maybe leading up to it. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll get you on here as a proper guest. Have your
proper
proper main guest debut.
You're taking Bobby's
spotlight.
No, but we appreciate Bobby being a good sport and being cool about it and letting you come on and make that announcement. So thank you for being here. Thank you for waiting patiently in the back, chilling out. You've been live in the comments, so we appreciate you kind of doing that too. So. Big things, July 22nd, 23rd, 24-hour stream. Be on the lookout. It'll be a fun time. Lawrence, thank you again for hopping on and telling everybody about the big news.
Thank you, boys.
All right, we'll see you soon, my friend.
Cheers. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That poor guy, 24 hours.
We'll get you in. We'll talk some more behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, 24 hours. That's a lot.
I saw on the comments somebody said that I didn't hesitate to answer that Mount Rushmore question.
Yes,
people hesitated, I guess.
Well, Tim said, as a B2B fan, I can firmly tell you that is the fastest anyone has answered the Mount Rushmore question. No hesitation. I love it.
4 people
because
you get them on. And
what people are doing is they're thinking of too many rankings of what you would say as a wrestler. Is like, do we rank them by fame? Do we rank them by notoriety? Do you rank them by promos? That type of thing. If you, to me, take all the rankings, put them together, these are the 4 guys that were probably the biggest gimmick, the best wrestlers, the most over, made the most money at the time that they were over, and started something that was copied forever. And you think about Gorgeous George, how many wrestlers came after that? Yeah. He was the first gimmick. Ric Flair, gimmick, promo, wrestler, everything. Pretty much the all around
longevity and support in that.
So
as well.
If you say Hulk Hogan, more famous, but he didn't have that wrestler side. And if you're talking to me, what Mount Rushmore is, it's the overall quality. Mm-hmm. And then Undertaker, same thing as kind of Ric Flair, but that opposite side of the gimmick. And Steve Austin would be the other side where it's the most famous, the most over gimmick, the most real character, and probably one of the best wrestlers. So yeah. I don't know. I've also thought about it before, so I cheated. So I've been asked that before.
You know it was coming. Tim must have messaged you on the side. I had you prepared. We don't like to do that. I like to catch him off guard.
I really like the Gorgeous George pick. I just feel like that. I feel like wrestlers from a certain era, as we move on and there's younger fans and things like that, like you don't hear names like that. Like when I first got into wrestling in the early 90s, you heard that name a lot more because, but 30 years later, that's a name you don't really hear that much. But like you said, that was the real, really one of the first gimmicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pretty close to the first, over the top when you really think about the stuff that he did.
At the time, too, like that, we're in a time now where a lot, we're very open to everything. And the world is different now. Back then, when Gorgeous George was doing that was really out there.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, literally the first. So, that's why he's on there for sure.
I was happy to hear that name. I haven't heard that name. Go ahead, Pluggo. Sorry.
No, I knew. So if you're willing to stick around, we were just going to touch on some topics throughout the week, and maybe I'll talk about Star Wars here in a little bit towards the end. But I did have a question because you are talking to you. You're a wrestler's wrestler. You love it. You breathe it. You said it's all you know, and it kind of touches into current topic stuff. The signing of Logan Paul to the WWE. Now, do you feel like this is the top wrestling company? It seems like they're angling more sports entertainment, trying to grab those names, the Ronda Rouseys, Logan Paul, the Bad Bunnies, all that kind of stuff. Do you find that good for the sport, or do you feel like it's taking a spot away from, say, somebody that's paid their dues? Controversial takes are allowed on this show. It's okay.
I don't even view WWE as a wrestling company anymore. You're lucky that you offer something as an actor more than a wrestler to get signed through them. It doesn't surprise me, and if I was them, I would.
Oh no! Did we lose them? Oh no!
Vince McMahon cut the feed.
Yep, that's what Vince must have been watching. He was like, "Cut that shit."
I got a phone call. No, so this might be my last answer. But I had a phone call. But no, I mean, you can see why they chose to make that call. And I mean, the guy at least is an athlete, and the guy at least they're not just giving contracts to just any. Well, I guess they kind of are, but the guy's had matches, so he's done some training. So there's obviously something that we as fans only see what they present us and what they want us to see. And that's kind of the allure of wrestling. And that's the mystique. So we only see Logan Paul on the wrestling show as this douchey kind of person, but like we don't know the work he's put in behind the scenes, and we don't know what type of talent he has. We don't know any of that as far as like when he's by himself and pushing it to the limit, you know. So that's kind of where I think like WWE is an entertainment company. We have people just have to accept it. That just so happens to have something that resembles wrestling. And I still love it. Like, I'm not going to say I don't. And they still have some of the best wrestlers, but they have guys that can offer more than wrestling. And that's what Logan Paul does. So, yeah, like I'd be more upset if he had a AEW roster spot or an Impact roster spot.
Fair. I was going to follow up with that. Yeah. So, like, it seemed like for years, and we've talked about some of the past wrestlers with the gorgeous streak, the goal was always to get to the WWE. That was the pinnacle. In the wrestling scene, in the circle, in the indies and locker rooms, has that changed? Is it like, I don't have to go the WWE route anymore because it's a different product? It's not a wrestler's wrestling product. I can do other things. And then, you know.
Yeah. I think he's getting phone calls. He might have important business.
I got popular man.
No, it's all right. It's all right. If you got to go, you just let us know. But
what was the question? I'll answer.
I was just saying that in the locker rooms, you know how it used to be the goal is WWE. Yeah. Has that vibe changed where it's like I can do my own thing and still make a decent living in the
I would game? Say like I would say the guys that if anybody ever out loud was like WWE is my goal and that's my only goal, the guy wasn't going to last. And you can take that from guys where if WWE was your goal, usually you kept that kind of to yourself. The goal was always whatever it was in front of you that night. And you would talk to your friends about it and stuff. But I found you're not going to have a very fun time if WWE is your goal and you consider yourself a failure if you don't get there, because it's not the measure of success. And it never really was, I always thought. But like, I mean, guys had careers without WWE, especially now.
True. Yeah.
So, I find that the guy that says that out loud is frowned upon because he's always just kind of a goof anyway. But at least now, too, I see a lot more people saying their goal is to make a living. And I think that's a great thing.
That's probably a good way to put it, right? Like, hey, like, I don't care. You know, you can have aspirations and goals, but like you said, if the goal is making a living, then you're going to do what you have to do, and you're going to find something that makes you truly happy. Because, you know, I'm sure there are people in WWE that are super happy, and I'm sure there are people in WWE that are like, I wish I was being used, and I'm sitting somewhere for months and months and months, and this is not what I thought my dream of being a professional wrestler would be. It's sitting and catering, not being used for 9 months. You know what I mean? So,
gotcha.
Yeah. Do you need to head out with those phone calls, or are you good?
Yeah, I gotta.
It's all good, man. We get it. We understand. You're a busy man.
Sorry,
you're a busy man.
I cut out on this show every week.
No, but we got almost an hour out of you, so we appreciate you a lot. This was a really good time. Thank you for being on
anytime.
here.
I'd love to come back and we can
absolutely. As we, you know, it's an open door policy, so you just hit us up on social media. Let us know when you want to hop back on, and when, you know, maybe when you're leading up to your next big match or something like that. We would definitely love to have you on again. So we appreciate you.
Before
everyone, Bobby Sharp.
Let them know where you can find you.
Yeah, real quick.
Twitter.
Plug your shit.
Twitter is at Lion Warrior AB, which is at Lion Warrior Alberta, if you forget. My Instagram is Bobby Should Get Insta, long story. And whatever the Facebook page.com/Bobby Sharp. If you search me on Google, you can find like my Wikipedia and my Facebook and follow me and all that stuff. But the Twitter is where you can interact with me the most.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again for being here. This was a great time. We'll have to do it again soon, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks,
all
guys.
Right.
It was a pleasure.
See you later.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you, Bobby. All right. Bobby Sharp. That was good. We got a whole hour out of him. He was good. That was a good conversation. I like that a lot.
That's probably Spencer telling him, hey.
He Spencer. Hey, I need to book
keep
you.
It under an hour.
But
no,
hey,
we'll
that was really good. That was really good. So
make sure you go follow him, check him out. T.Y. Jackson, him going off July 29th, Edmonton, Alberta, at the Rec Room, LPW 6.
Yeah.
Welcome to Paradise.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we reset a bit? Alex, maybe you can queue up one of them Manscaped videos we have back there. And then we'll come back. We're going to dive into a little bit. I want to talk a little bit of Money in the Bank. We got to talk about that. Some shit went down. We got SummerSlam coming up in a couple weeks, kind of where they're going there. We can touch Dynamite a little bit. Had a big title change for a wrestler that I want to talk about a little bit that happened on Dynamite last night. And then I think
so get your questions ready if you're still in the chat after we run this Manscaped ad with our buddy the Wordsmith.
We'll come back. We'll kind of talk the week
Let's
that
get
is.
weird.
Yeah. But again, thank you, Bobby Sharp. That was a great interview. Hopefully we would like to get him on again. But Alex, run the clip and then we'll come back, talk a little bit of wrestling, and then Pluggo will review some Star Wars, and then we'll call it a night. But yeah, manscaped.com. Let's go.
Well, let me tell you something, everyone. If you go over to manscaped.com, right this moment in time, right now, you can save 20% off of your next purchase at manscaped.com. But how am I going to save 20%, I hear you ask? Well, let the wordsmith tell you. Because if you enter promo code Love Wrestling, that's right, Love Wrestling. You can see it down here. You can see it scrolling across the screen. Enter promo code Love Wrestling and save 20% off of anything you find on that website. And also, you'll get free shipping. How crazy is that? 20% off. You can use it to buy the Lawnmower 4.0. And at the end of the day, your balls are going to thank you because, like the headline says, at manscaped.com, we save balls. And it's just too sweet.
Yes, manscaped.com, promo code Love Wrestling, 20% off and
that
free
was
shipping.
my best friend, the Wordsmith.
That is the Wordsmith. I miss
worldwide
that
free shipping.
I
Love that, man.
gentleman.
Hopefully he comes back. We're going to talk about it a little bit because there's a hell of a promo.
We're going to talk
Before
about
we
that promo.
dive into the wrestling, while we got you here at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, our friends Papa Smokes and Bobby Money Munson are coming on and giving you the most dynamite MLW coverage on the internet. The Video Bros, they're going to break down everything that happened on MLW tonight. So stay tuned after us. Good dudes, good people, great analysis.
Absolutely. All right, Pluggo. Last Saturday, there was the WWE. I'm going to call it a pay-per-view because, God damn it, it's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't even say, what is it?
PLE bullshit. It's a pay-per-view, guys. Forever.
I'm old, man.
WWE. Together. What is it? Together. Whatever. Pay-per-view forever. Anyway, Money in the Bank was last Saturday. Overall, I thought it was a very good show. I was very happy with everything that happened except what happened in the main event, which we'll get to. But the big story of the night, Liv Morgan, she opened up the show by climbing that ladder and retrieving the Money in the Bank briefcase to win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Which I remember us saying last year.
Yes.
To do it. They should have did it last year.
Correct.
And they didn't do it,
I was afraid they weren't going to do it again this year either. So I'm glad they did. I feel like not everybody, but I feel like most people in the wrestling community were very happy to see Liv get that victory. You know, she's always been pretty popular. She's got a good story, but I feel like she's always been that wrestler that like the fans have wanted it, but the company was like, yeah, no, not happening. So it was good to see her have that moment. And then an even bigger moment about a few hours later, at the conclusion of Ronda Rousey retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya, Liv Morgan came out and she cashed in and she beat Ronda Rousey clean. Ronda Rousey was, had a little bit of a knee injury from the match with Natalya, but she defeated Ronda Rousey, and Liv Morgan is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Pluggo, how you feel about Liv not only getting that moment, and we can kind of dive in because as happy as everybody was, there has been a common theme when it comes to the women and their Money in the Bank briefcases. one that's starting to annoy me, even though I'm happy. I'm happy that Liv is the champion. I just want that on record.
Yeah.
Ecstatic. I think SmackDown could have used another really good babyface on their roster. So I think even moving her from Raw to SmackDown to do this is really good. Parrish, I'm going to get to your comment because I'm super worried about this because I have a feeling that Ronda's going to win that title back at SummerSlam and that they just did this to do it. And that's going to piss me off because I want Liv to at least be given a proper chance to. I think, again, you never know.
What
you never
is
know.
wrong with a long-term Money in the Bank holder? The last one I think was Carmella.
Carmella's the only one. So
Yeah.
Carmella was
There's 100% success rate for the women's.
There
Money
is,
in the Bank.
and they've had.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go.
No,
go,
I'm just saying there's two constants that I see with these women Money in the Bank matches that get on my nerves. The long start. I'm happy for Liv. I'm glad she got it done.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like Rousey kind of giving her due. I kind of thought like, hey, Ronda, you should be a little pissy that you took the L. So
yeah, I think they still want Ronda to be. I still think they want Ronda to be a baby face right now.
Need to stop that shit. But the other one is that people just crap on these women's Money in the Bank ladder matches is not good. I saw all the internet haters.
Listen, for those people,
like
it's a 7-person ladder match.
It's supposed to be sloppy,
to be clean and crisp. It's a fucking 7-person brawl with ladders. Like, I'm done with it. Enough of that shit.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, I thought Shotzi outside of the mishap had a pretty decent showing. Like, I was like, damn, she's looking pretty good. But everybody crapped on her. But again, whatever.
To the point where she had to get off Twitter. Like, guys, it's wrestling. Like, have a fucking life. Have a life, guys.
But Liv winning ultimately, beating Ronda after the Natalia match, which I thought was a pretty solid match between
I thought it was actually it exceeded my expectations.
And when she came out, and they even gave us the hope spot where Ronda puts her in the ankle lock, and I'm was
that a hope spot? Because I was shitting myself. I was like, they're gonna have her lose, but I'm gonna break my TV. That's what's gonna happen.
Hope spot's wrong. I'm guessing the moment of like, oh shit, they're gonna let Liv lose here.
Yeah. When she Ronda got her in the ankle lock and then Liv escaped, but then Ronda put it in the second time and I was like, fuck. I was like, this is gonna happen. Once she got in the second time, I was like, I already had the dread in me. I was like, unbelievable. Unbelievable they're gonna have her lose, and I'm gonna be so disgusted. And then she didn't lose, so everything was fine.
And that's great. And it's a huge moment. It got a great pop. She came out on Monday night. She had a good speech.
Yeah, she did. She had
Everybody's
a good promo.
Behind her. I do. Honestly, I don't know if I worry. You're worried that she's going to lose it at SummerSlam to Rousey. I don't feel the same way because I look at a guy like Mankind or Mick Foley who had 3 title reigns for 28 days, and we remember him as one of that she got her due. Now, do I want her to have a good run with the title? Absolutely. I think she deserves a good run with the title. But I'm just happy she got it because after all these fucking years of us saying, put it on Liv, give Liv the moment.
Yeah, but
Liv should have beat Becky.
I agree. But this is where we disagree because yes, I am happy Liv got the moment. Do not get me wrong, but I don't want Liv to get the moment just to fucking give her a moment. I want Liv to get.
Well, that's what the WWE does.
I know, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
But so take Ronda out of the equation. There's rumors and speculation that it might be Bayley. If Bayley comes back, you don't have her take an L on her first night back to Liv, right?
I understand. Yeah, that's because I think Liv's losing no matter who she faces, and that to me is not enough. That to me is not enough.
That's fair.
Like, here's my thing. Yes, them giving Liv this moment, they have to believe in her at some point. But to me, if you just 3 weeks later have her lose to,
you did it with Nikki Ash.
Yeah, and what happened? What's Nikki Ash doing now? She's on the fucking sidelines. That's what's going on.
This is
everyone was pumped when Nikki Ash won. Everyone loved Nikki.
Bobby back. He could tell us.
Everybody loved. What was her name before she was Nikki Ash? Nikki Cross. Everyone loved Nikki Cross. Everyone was happy for that moment. Everyone was happy when she. But you have to also understand, like, yeah, there's real fans that are really pumped about it, but a lot of those people that are having a good pop, they're seeing a world title change, so they're fucking jacked up. They're like, oh my god,
and they're just happy it's not Ronda because Ronda is not. This run has not been as good as the first. But no, ultimately, I think they should do right by Liv and give her an opportunity, give her a real opportunity to see what she can do.
That's what I'm saying.
Because she's still young enough that you could build around her. And like we've always said since day one on this show, is you can't just rely on the 4 horsewomen, Asuka and Alexa, and then Ronda. You need to start getting that next tier.
Yeah.
You started it with the Biancas and the Rheas, and you now
and Liv should be in that group. And like Parrish has so he says Liv with the short reign isn't terrible as long as it leads to a bigger moment. But also as far as the cashing goes, it's annoying they are quick, but the last 3 have been feel-good moments that fans do want. Problem is there isn't just enough creative with the length of the briefcase, holding the briefcase. Now, and then he says Liv becoming the first non-horsewoman to beat Ronda, that's a big-time deal too. It is. And
Ronda giving her stamp of approval.
Yeah, and I know you said you weren't the biggest fan of it, but that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
I wasn't a fan of it in the sense that if in order for this to work and have Ronda live at SummerSlam, if that's the route you're going, is Ronda's got to be a heel. So she gave her the moment. She's gonna have to kick it up a notch on Friday.
Yeah. And then so here's my So, and I want to go back to the longer comment.
I would have raised her hand, gave her moment, then.
Well, I think that might happen at SummerSlam. What if Liv? Hear me out. Again, I think Ronda will probably, if it ends up being Liv and Ronda, I foresee Ronda probably winning. But what if Liv wins? Ronda Rousey's not going to be murdered. Like her character's not going to be murdered from a loss. She's Ronda fucking Rousey. Like it happens. She had the knee injury. What if Liv wins? And then Ronda goes to her and is like, yeah, and goes to do the lift up. And everyone's like, oh, they're going to have another nice moment like Money in the Bank. And then Ronda just fucking kills him.
Breaks her arm off.
Just,
yeah.
But Liv is still the champion. And then Ronda turns heel. And then eventually, maybe a couple months down the line, she's like torturing Liv or whatever. And she wins the belt back. And then that's how you lead to heel champion Rousey next year's Mania. Hopefully against Becky Lynch, who goes through a meltdown and turns back into the man, Becky Lynch. That's where I think you got to go. Next year's WrestleMania, it needs to be a heel Rousey versus a babyface, the man, Becky Lynch. Like that's what we need. And that's a way you can get there. Or Rousey wins the title at SummerSlam and she just does it by absolutely beating the shit out of Liv Morgan and turns heel in the process of the match by the way she's doing it. You can do that.
Liv's run, the only way it's successful is if the crowd stays behind her. So super heel Rousey's got to happen.
I mean, it has to.
Sympathy is going to drive this thing. And that's no disrespect to Liv. It's just she's super over. We all love her. We all can't, we were all super excited. We all popped when she won. Mm-hmm. But I'll say this. I know the super short cash-in thing sucks, but had Liv not won at Money in the Bank, based on the ending of Money in the Bank, would we be talking in such high regard of Money in the Bank?
I mean, for me, at least for me, like when the show was going on, I thought it was good. Like the first match, I was super pumped. I went in thinking Liv's not going to win. So when Liv was who I wanted to win, but I had a feeling it was going to be Lacey Evans. So when Liv wins it, I'm jacked up. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like they did it. Then the second match of the night was Bobby Lashley and Theory. And I thought for sure, Lashley's going to lose to Theory because Theory's the dude of the moment, which pause until the end of the night. But Theory is the dude of the moment. But then all of a sudden, Lashley won. And I was like, yeah, all right, cool. I like this. In my brain, I was like, oh God, is Theory going to move up now? Like, the performer itself, I don't hate Theory. He's 24 years old, has all the potential in the world, can already cut a good promo, already really good in the ring. I understand why Vince, being who we know Vince to be, sees a guy like Theory and he's like, yeah, that's future of the company. Yeah. I understand why he's doing that. I just don't see it. And again, he's only 24. Talk to me when he's 28. Maybe I'll see it then. I didn't see it with hip-hop guy John Cena either until John Cena got to a certain level where it was like, okay, now I see it in John Cena.
We'll take all the rumors, speculation, alleged. If you just break it down in terms of like he's 24
I don't
years
see
old.
Face of the company guy right now
But they've got to try it with somebody. And the argument that we've always had is the Roman that Brock, you can't keep going back to that. They're promoting this as it's the last.
Well, the guy they should be trying it with is their current Intercontinental Champion. But give it time. Give it time. Because Gunther is going to run that shit. I'm calling him Walter.
And I don't remember super like vividly like when they pushed Randy Orton at 22 years old. Did we think, okay, here's a no doubter? Like you saw him. They gave him a title early. Maybe they're thinking
they gave him an Intercontinental title early. Like theories, realistically, and I get it. He was involved in the pandemic when they were short-staffed, and they had him with what was it, Angel Garza and Andrade. He was in that group. Like but realistically, Theory has been a regular on our television screen for a year, less than a year, realistically, and he has in his hand now. And again, he has in his hand a briefcase that all but very rarely he's going to become the next like at some point he's going to become a champion. Vince said it at WrestleMania. He announced him as a future Universal Champion.
And don't worry, Parrish, we're going to get to all your comments.
We're going to get to all your
good comments.
Yeah.
I do have a question for Ecto Guy because he's private chatting us. When you say draft time is coming up, do you mean that we're having a draft battle? Or are you talking WWE draft?
He's talking that we're having a draft battle.
Are we?
Oh no, WWE. Okay.
Yeah. Are they actually doing that? Because I thought that I thought they were scrapping.
I mean, to me, it feels like there's no separate shows anymore. Yeah. Because the champion's not even fucking there
anymore.
Yeah.
But I noticed Liv was
when they
Raw,
usually
do SmackDown champion, and then Natalia's out there, and it's just like
yeah, but they've done this before with ever stupid cockamamie idea that it's the what was it the brand to brand invitational or all this shit whatever they come up with, but they usually have the WWE draft like weeks before Survivor Series, so then you have Survivor Series where it's brand supremacy and everybody fighting for Raw was just on SmackDown 2 weeks earlier and now they give a shit about whatever. But like I don't know, I just felt like again, I wanted to talk about stuff before we got to the Theory conversation. But
here's the problem. We had Bobby Sharp on earlier. Please go back later and watch that interview if you missed it. It's Dino. I had to be like super professional for most of that because it's the boss. He loves that guy. I love that guy. We got to be good. Now that we're basically free to I'm off the rails, baby. We'll talk about whatever you want. I don't care.
Well, yeah, no, we were talking about Money in the Bank. I just, and Parrish said, and I wanted to touch base on it, but he did ask, what if Bayley comes back to screw Ronda and we see Liv retain to battle other people? I mean, I'm okay with that, but eventually I think by WrestleMania next year, Ronda's being a women's champion. I don't know what show it'll be on. I'm assuming it should be a show that Becky Lynch is on. Or if Becky Lynch wins the Rumble, it doesn't matter. But, and Parrish saying that Bobby is his brother. He loves him. Man, he was a really good. We had him for the whole full first hour. That was a great interview. He was a lot of fun, very insightful, went into detail about Love Pro Wrestling and just his career and the comeback from the surgery. Like it was good. It was very good.
Pull the curtain back a little bit. Spencer mentioned that he was available this week. We didn't lock it in until yesterday. And the whole time I was like, I hope he's good. I hope he's I want him on the show. Cause he has such a great insight for the business.
He's been doing it for a long time.
Loved it. So we'll definitely be clipping it up, putting it on socials. Please check it out.
And he said that he would love to come back, and
I hope
that's music to our ears.
Yes,
so.
When they say they want to come back, that means we did good.
You heard him say on here that he wants to get a few matches back, get a little bit of the back in the swing of things, but like his ultimate goal is to be grand champion, Love Pro Wrestling grand champion. And you know what? I would love, and if you're listening, MRB. I would love an LPW grand champion to be on this damn show. So,
we want to talk about those comments. But anyway, to circle back to the Bayley Ronda stuff. So this is going to be a little bit of a deep cut. So you remember back in a couple years back, the WWE released their top 50 women of the modern era.
Mm-hmm.
They put Bayley at 10 and Ronda at 9. And
That's disrespectful.
I said in that moment, if they're not doing that strictly to get some kind of program, because we haven't really seen a Bayley Ronda interaction because it's always been Becky and it's always been Charlotte. I think that this current iteration of Bayley and Ronda as a heel, because Bayley's coming back to a hero's welcome, I think that they could tell an amazing story. So I hope that they get involved. I hope that they're cross path whenever Bailey shows back up.
You hope
and
they're
if
what?
she cross
paths,
and we
gotcha.
Get that story.
I thought you said I hope their crosses path instead of I hope their paths cross. So I was trying to make fun of you, but damn it, it didn't work.
But I said it right, because here basically what I'm trying to get to is like, and then Bailey was very supportive of Liv's win on Twitter, so she could come back, screw Ronda, saying, this should have been my spot. Why were you ranked ahead of me in any sort of match? That don't make any sense. And it would be great. And then it keeps Liv strong, keeps her title reign for a little longer. Sure, I'm for that. Unfortunately, if I'm a betting man, I don't think Liv's reign lasts till the Rumble.
Till the Rumble, fine. I mean, that's 6 months. I just don't want a 3-week title reign.
All right, let's put it on the board right now. Do you think?
I think she's going to lose at SummerSlam.
Okay.
If it's against Ronda, I would.
I
would like to be surprised. I would like to be surprised. I didn't think Liv had a chance to win the Money in the Bank. I was not picking her, and they surprised me, and in a good way. And WWE can still do that from time to time. I thought Money in the Bank in general, and Parrish had another comment. I do want to talk about that tag match.
Yes.
Because that tag match was unbelievable. Parrish says phenomenal. Any word you want to use. But the Street Profits and the Usos balled out at Money in the Bank. Started a little slow. But once they got in it, holy crap! And specifically, and I mentioned on the J&J Power Hour when we talked about Money in the Bank a little bit. And I think I even mentioned on AES last night, like this was a coming out. And again, I thought that Angelo Dawkins showed out during this tag match, almost like he's been hearing the chirping of Montez Ford. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, you and I've been saying it for months on multiple shows. Montez Ford is a future world. No questions asked. No questions asked. However, that's all everyone ever talks about is, Montez Ford this. They're going to break up the Street Profits so Montez Ford can go to the top. Montez Ford. You don't think that Angelo Dawkins hears that shit? Do you not think? Because it looked to me that during that match on Saturday, he was like, all right, let me go show some people that this ain't a one-man team, because it's not.
That's just human nature.
It is. He did a tope con hero where he landed on his feet. That man is 280 pounds. And he flipped over the top rope and landed on his feet. Get the fuck out of here.
I have trouble landing on my feet getting out of bed.
That is not something that is normal. All right? And then I thought that tag team move that they had where Dawkins did like a running charge of sorts right into the back suplex with Montez. That was a new tag team move that looked awesome. Montez Ford doing the flip over the corner. He's done that a couple times, but that's always. Sean Ross Sapp was there. He was doing work he actually went to the show, and he said that when he saw that live, it was almost like double the amount of impressive than if you see it on TV. So I can imagine what that looks like when you're in the building and you see that athletic feat. You're like, holy crap, man.
That's like
this guy just jumped, doing a flip.
Like a guy like Dante Martin. Like when you see it on TV, it looks good. But when you're at a live show where Dante Martin does those flips, it's incredible.
So I definitely wanted to at least touch base with them because that tag match was, WWE they don't focus on tag team wrestling as much as they should. But when they want to put on a good tag team match, they do. They do. And those two teams are incredible. Uso is one of the all-time teams ever. I think the Street Profits are kind of up in that discussion as well. They just haven't been doing it for as long. But the Usos are an all-time tag team. But that match was, oh my God, it was just fantastic. It was fantastic. And I do agree with the back half of that comment with Parrish. I thought, again, this is why I thought, going to the main event, I was like, this has been a really good show because I thought Bobby Lashley, in theory, had a good match too. I was expecting that match to be kind of just whatever, but it went a little bit long for my taste. But all in all, I was like, this is a really good match between these guys. I just thought the whole night they were good. And you mentioned Ronda and Natalya. I thought that match exceeded all expectations. And to anybody that's just hopping in the chat right now. Welcome. Good to see you. We're talking a little bit of Money in the Bank review.
Yeah.
So let us know what you thought about Money in the Bank.
This is our weekly wrestling inspection. If we can steal a phrase from our friend,
friend Warren Hayes. This is we're talking the week in wrestling.
Bring it into the comments.
We had Canadian independent wrestler, the Lion Warrior, Bobby Sharp, on for the whole first hour, where we dove into his career and all that. So if you weren't around, go back and check that out once it's available.
Of course, after this.
Yeah, after this, go back and check that out. It was a really, really good interview. Very, very good.
Anything else you want to touch on before we talk men's Money in the Bank? Because I feel like the rest, that was pretty much the show.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Liv. That to me was the big moment of the night.
And I gotta say, all of the criticisms for Natalya in terms of just character work, that match was good. That match was great because they have great chemistry. They're training partners. I thought, you know what, it was no. Don't sleep on them. But Natalya is.
That's what Natalya is. Natalya's like, who's going to put on a good match with anybody? Who's going to be safe? And who's going to make their opponent look like $1 million? And Natalya, that's more of a creative thing than a performer thing. Like Natalya is one of the all-time great women wrestlers in ring. Yeah. In ring, no question. Part of the Hart family. We know the story. She's one of the all-timers. It's just for me. Yeah. WWE, when they're not focused on you, you don't mean shit. So, like, when Natalya wins a fatal 5-way to become the #1 contender, I already know, well, no fucking way in hell she's winning because she was in NXT.
If I was a betting man, I think they give her one title run before her career is over as a thank you.
Who knows? Not the way I feel like the company's going to something completely different.
But this would be one of those, she's been with you. She's a legacy. You give her one before her time is up.
I mean, it'd be nice.
It doesn't have to be a long one, but you do as a thank you. I think you do that. But anyway, so men's Money in the Bank. Natalya, we could talk about her all day. Here's what bothered me. If I'm gonna be honest, and we can argue the theory side of it. The involvement of theory. Listen, Vince, if you're going to come out and pull the bullshit you pulled the last couple weeks where you just come out and you do this like then now together forever crap, this is the moment you come out then. You say, why have Pierce come out? We all know it's Vince. We all know it was you. Why not just do that and just go, all right, Theory, here's your shot, or do some kind of backstage segment where Theory's begging Vince to get into the match. Like, if you're going to be so, clueless to come out on those 2 spots you came out with that we all hated, like, why not do that here? So it makes a little bit more sense, because what investment does Adam Pearce have in Austin Theory, right? Theory. I am not going to call him Theory because you said you hate anybody named Theory. So
it's a dumbass name.
I've decided.
I'll say it for the rest of time. It's a dumbass name.
So he loses his U.S. title match. We all think, okay, he's going to do something else. That's fine. You have a stacked eight-person field as it is, or is it 7?
I think it was.
Was it 7 and he's 8?
I think he was the 8th.
He was the TBA.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
No, he wasn't the TBA. Madcap Moss ended up being. It was 8. It was already 8. It was already 9.
So he was 9 now. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I forget about. And Madcap was a perfect. I thought if you're going to go the young route and put the rocket on somebody, Madcap.
Well, I think Madcap legitimately could be a big time player for them in the future. I really do believe that.
Parrish says Natty is the next Queen's Crown winner.
I mean, hopefully the whole tournament will take longer than 19 minutes.
Yeah, that would
whatever ridiculous shit nice. They did with that. But yeah, I would like another Queen's Crown tournament. You know how you can get somebody new? I mean, Natty would be fine. But you know how you get a new star over? You have somebody new win that tournament. And that'd be nice.
Chris,
what do you think winning that tournament? If they treated it with care, not the last one, because the last one did not matter because the matches were bullshit. But like, what do you think something like that type of tournament would do for someone like a Shotzi or an Aaliyah or someone that's just newer that maybe has a run? Remember when they brought it back and Corbin won and he ended up beating Gable and Gable had that run where he just beat a couple legit dudes and it was like, holy shit. And then the crowd was like, wow, we really like this. Yeah, I don't know. It's the way WWE does things. Again, I hope those tournaments come back. But
Parrish said that
Parrish is right though.
That I would go to that comment real quick before we have the guy. But Vince literally did the same thing for Charlotte, the WrestleMania main event. Yeah, but at the same time, like my issue is like that's fine if you want to do it, but make it make sense. And if you're gonna stamp Theory and you've already put all this work in it, Vince, it takes 5 minutes of the backstage segment to say, all right, you're in, and then or have him just come out and go.
Yeah, and for me, Parrish, like that did happen. You know what was the worst part about that match is it didn't need to be a triple threat. Yeah. The match should have been Becky and Ronda. But Vince, for some reason, was like, nope, Charlotte's got to be involved. And it made it a triple threat when it just didn't need to be a triple threat. And then Charlotte could have fought somebody else. You know? So again, yeah, Theory winning Money in the Bank gave me instant Rumble Lesnar vibes. Yeah, I would say so. Like, again, for me, I thought the event was super duper solid. And I actually enjoyed the men's Money in the Bank match. I thought it was a good match. You know who I think was the best person in the match? Was Omos. I thought Omos... I'm not joking. Yeah. I'm not joking. I thought the way that they built that match around the big stuff that Omos did, I thought he played his role better than anyone in that match. I thought that was the best he's been. I just thought they used him perfectly. Obviously, we kind of knew he wasn't going to win, but he's a big monster. But I thought he was perfect in that match.
Josh?
What is that?
He saw your streams with Josh. He goes, I got to show out like this dude.
I'm just the way they used him in that match. It was smart. He filled that role. He did everything he needed to do. I thought Omos was awesome in that match. But for me, once Adam Pearce came out and they announced it was Theory, right there, I was like, all right, well, this motherfucker's winning. So I was kind of, that was it for me. You know, the match was still good.
Even when he came out, I thought there was a chance that Seth was going to pull it off.
I didn't. I wanted Seth or Riddle. I wanted Seth or Riddle to win. That's who I wanted to win going in.
Riddle screwed himself when he did the RK off the ladder.
I know.
He had
that was a cool thing though.
That was that smoker's brain. He was like,
yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah. It gets fadey from time to time. You know. But again, and maybe there, I'm sure there were a lot of people like you that were like, oh, he's in the match, but that doesn't necessarily. Me immediately, I was like, he's winning, and that kind of lessened my excitement. And then when it actually happened, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
But at the same time, like, and I know that it's Theory, and I know that a lot of the internet wrestling world doesn't think he's the guy, and that's a fair thing. I don't know. We had the conversation last week. Did we, when it was the John Cena talk, is at least that, I guess they're trying something new. Do I see? So basically they've kind of booked themselves into this corner where if Theory doesn't pull this thing out of his ass,
I think there's a chance he loses, by the way. I think there's a chance.
Right. There's got, because there's a chance. It's a last man standing. They're going to beat the hell out of each other in Nashville. You're going to be there seeing just pure carnage between Reigns and Lesnar. Mm-hmm. And then Theory's gonna have to cash in at that moment because there's not going to be another better time for him to do. If he doesn't cash in at SummerSlam, you're telling me that Brock or Roman is holding that thing till the Rumble.
Well, I think Brock or Roman is holding that thing till Mania.
At minimum. I'm saying at minimum Rumble.
And I agree with Hab Guy. He's not the guy yet, but if you look back at Money in the Bank. When they did it earlier, a lot of guys that have won Money in the Bank haven't been the guy yet. When CM Punk won it back-to-back years, he wasn't best in the world, CM Punk. He wasn't.
But they were
there
saying
yet.
He's going to be the next
He's
guy.
going to be. Even when Edge won the first one, like that was what took him to win his, like, you know what I mean? Like he won his first, these were guys that most of the fans knew and definitely the company knew, like these guys are the guys. But we're giving them this chance now to see if they got it in them. You know what I mean? Ziggler wasn't the guy when he won, but even Seth Rollins when he won, we knew he had a future to be the guy. But at the time he won, he wasn't the Seth Rollins we're watching on Mondays right now.
You realize what's happening, right? And it kind of just clicked in my brain.
Yeah.
All we've been saying is the internet wrestling community is book new stars. Push new stars.
I get it.
Make new stars. This is the WWE going, all right, we're going to give
you go.
Here's Liv, and if it flops, it's on you. Here's Austin.
But if they give her a 3-week title reign, there's no chance it doesn't flop.
Right, but they're going to say, we tried it, and this is flop. This is what I'm saying, though, is like, look at the numbers. Ronda's numbers do better than Liv's. And the theory thing is, I think Vince McMahon just saying, look, I think he's the guy.
Yeah.
We're going to push this guy. He's a heel as it is anyway, so you're not supposed to like him. And what we talked about earlier in our interview with Bobby Sharp was like, get the cheers, get the boos. No, we talked about that off stage. But either way, the adage is if they're booing, they're cheering, or they're sitting on their hands, at least they're doing something. And with Theory, there is heat, whether it's go away heat or not. There's heat, and Vince sees that as a big deal. No. And you've got Brock and you've got Roman, whoever wins that is going to hold up those undisputed championships. And basically, we're not going to see a title on TV forever. And Theory came out Monday and said, hey, I want all of it. I'm going to take my title back with Bobby. I'm going to win the Universal titles at he called his shot.
Yeah.
So at SummerSlam, he's cashing in for better or worse. Does he win? I don't know. But all I know is if he doesn't win, they better have a solid backup plan for those titles. Because I have to say, I am sick and tired.
Brock has wrestled a lot this year. He's
going to be around, but he's not going to be in there every single week defending those titles or bringing up. He'll be there. He might.
Yeah, I mean, well, right now the guy that has him isn't.
Exactly.
At least Brock, at least this year, has shown that, like, yeah, I'll be there every other week. I'll be there a lot if you want me to be there a lot. You just got to pay me, obviously. But here's another thing to add again, because this isn't, and this is personal feelings aside. I'm talking strictly from what I'm watching on my television here. All right.
My ear just popped.
There's an element to it of what, like, I'm not just super bothered because I'm not into Theory or I don't see it in Theory. I'm super bothered because the guy lost. The guy lost earlier in the night. And I get it. The narrative is going to be, well, he's Vince's boy. He's Vince's boy. That's why he's in the match. Okay. But you haven't addressed it. Like, he lost earlier in the night. And then he comes back and wins the main event after losing. So it's not like he's on this huge, it's not like he's on this huge winning streak where it's like, oh man, this young comer, here it comes. I was like, no, he just lost. And then he wins this. And you know what's going to happen? I hope it doesn't. But what they usually do is when somebody has the briefcase, they lose and lose and lose and lose because they know, well, he's got the briefcase, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, that is bullshit.
He lost at Mania to Pat McAfee. I mean, he's not.
I have a problem with the way that, and again, this goes back to the booking. And I'm assuming that's Spencer there. He says, yeah, Seth lost to Randy at Mania before cashing in. He did. And nobody remembers that because the cash in was so amazing and so grand. But like, I have a problem when they do stuff like that. It's worse. Trust me, it's worse when they do it when there isn't a stipulation, because they've done that too, where this person will lose the United States Championship and the next night on Raw they come out and they go, I want a chance for the world title. It's like, bitch, you just lost. Get to the back of the line. What the you lost and now you think you deserve to go up? Shut the fuck. No. That's not how things work. That's not how things work.
But in the WWE universe,
it doesn't matter.
We're talking about it, so that's all that matters. Theory this, theory that. I think we might have to segue off into some other topic.
No, and we will.
Off a blood vessel, baby.
No, I'm good. But here's what's going to happen. That's Survivor Series.
And Hab Guy said he could get on board with Theory actually winning multiple titles.
Well, and I think this is how I feel with Hab Guy's latest comment. He said, I would have been more excited if he had retained against Lashley and then won Money in the Bank, because then he has Money in the Bank and then he can just lose the United States title to Lashley or whoever. But he's like, oh, it's all good. I'm good. Because whereas him losing and then winning the same, it's like, come on, man.
It's that fear of like, oh shit. And they haven't done the US title, world title thing since Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then this is even bigger because it's 3 belts. It's a big, I think maybe they have we'll see what happens at SummerSlam. We'll let it play out because I feel like whatever happens with Theory's shot when he calls it at SummerSlam, whether he holds the
I have a
theory. Maybe have a theory. Maybe Cody's faster track than we thought. Maybe
I gotta believe that Cody's Rumble. I gotta believe that.
Cody is bionic, bro.
Yeah, but I gotta believe even if he's ready, they're gonna say it's got to be the Rumble. It's got to be a Rumble return
right now.
It's got to be Rumble return, Mania Championship. That's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, you have a theory. Let's hear it.
Well, And, some of these people said that Seth Rollins, they were, some creative things about how he could have cashed in because a lot of people, including me, thought he was going to win. But wouldn't it kind of go, and again, I'm not saying I want this to happen, but how much would it fit his character if during the last man standing match between Brock and Roman, let's just say that Roman spears Lesnar off the stage, off something, off the stage, off of whatever. They go through a couple tables. They're both unconscious, out. They've been beating the shit out of each other for 30 minutes. Something big happens. Austin Theory then comes out, cashes in, hands it over to the ref, and he just stands there and doesn't have to lift a finger. And the ref counts both Roman and Brock to 10. And Theory is then the Universal, what is it? WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Grand or whatever.
I would
so
that,
again,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay. So then he wins the title, and then to add to his character, he's like, not only am I the new champion, but I beat both. I beat both Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns without lifting a finger. I didn't have to do anything.
It hasn't happened in a long time in a major wrestling promotion, but that is throwing beers.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
That's throwing.
Here's my thing though. If that happens, I'm going to be at SummerSlam. If that happens, I'm going to lose my shit.
He's taking selfies.
But how much would that fit his young, arrogant, douchey character?
We would hate it, but
oh my God, people would be losing their minds. Like, you got to be shitting me. This guy won the title, didn't do a thing. And I just think it would fit the character.
He doesn't deserve it.
God.
Oh, give me that.
See, now I'm booking it. It's not going to happen that way probably. But now I'm booking it into a scenario where I'd be like happy that Theory's the champ. I'd be like, oh, incredible stuff. But I think
that is the ultimate. Like, we want him to be the guy. You don't want him to be the guy.
It would be.
Look
amazing.
how we're gonna make him the guy. Because you also have to consider, like, granted, Money in the Bank cash-ins, I don't ever think hurt anybody. But that is your ultimate way to keep Roman and Brock strong. Dude, to be like, dude didn't even pin us. We did all the work. He's now the champ. We're going to kick his ass. Because I think the Brock and Roman chasing Theory for a little while till Cody gets back in the mix and you can get Seth heated back up. I think.
Have guy adding in an even better element. Taking selfies as the ref is counting. That'd be good.
Yep, during the
just taking selfies of them kind of like whatever they just fell through or through the stage or something. Oh, my. See, now I want this to happen. Damn it. I was so anti-Theory. But now, we've created a scenario where I'm like, this would be... What the hell are you looking for? What do you want?
I used to have a little mini Brock figure. I was going to take a little selfie with him like Austin Theory, but I think our buddy Owen has...
Well, I know the higher-ups at WWE watch this show.
Yes.
So if you're watching, feel free. Feel free to take that idea because that's what should happen.
Interim CEO.
If you're going to do it. If you're going to do it and you're going to have Theory win and cash in and not lose, I think that's how you got to do it. I think that's a way that, like Pluggo said, he already gets really good heat. But if he's the champion and he did it without doing like that, oh my God, that next night. Remember Roman when he beat The Undertaker and he couldn't talk for like 15 minutes? Still to this day, I think it's one of, if not Reigns' best promo ever, where they wouldn't let him talk and then it's my yard now and he just left. Theory would come out that next night on Raw as the new champion and that crowd would mercifully be booing him out of the building and
eating it up.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you mentioned your booking decisions for the WWE higher-ups. Freddie Prince, if you're listening,
he knows.
Listen to this is all gold.
We can clip this and tag him and be like, yo, this is the kind of ideas you want, bro. He knows.
He's going to hire us. It's just going to happen. It's fake.
We've already gone on record. We want to be the official podcast for Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wrestling company. I will tweet at him weekly until I'm blocked. But that's what's happening. That's what happens.
But we got about, all right, Parrish got a comment. We're going to hit
and then we'll move on because we got to review Star Wars and then get out of here.
But we also got to talk a little AEW quick.
Yeah. So Theory attempts to cash in. Cena blocks the attempt and pisses off Theory, to which he wants Cena, and Cena sees the maybe. Survivor Series don't have titles though. Oh, you think they'll just have a one-on-one match? Here's my thing. The report
it
is
has to have titles because it's universal.
Yeah, but they don't. It's not title matches. It's just champion versus champion.
But there's no champion versus champion if.
All right, so yeah, they'll probably have a world title match then. Yeah, so they'll probably have a world title match. That makes sense. And then what you would do? IC versus US, women versus women, tag versus tag, still, right? Yeah. Yeah, and then the other big match would actually be a universal title match. I'd be okay with it. And then you have a traditional women's Survivor Series, a traditional men's Survivor Series. Cool. Survivor Series is in Boston this year. Homeboy will probably be going party.
Booking the card.
They better not change any of the titles because right now I need, and I know Parrish mentioned it earlier, I need to see Gunther versus Bobby Lashley. That's a match that I want to happen.
Right.
For Big E's sake, big meaty men slapping meat. That's what I want to see. And yeah, let's go. Here's my thing though. According to Sean Ross Sapp, right now, and they could change, right now, John Cena is not going to be at SummerSlam, which I don't understand why, but apparently, like, he literally just came back for that one night. He's probably going to come back at some point, but right now, he is not, and again, this is according to SRS.
Maybe that's why they gave Theory the money
involved in the SummerSlam plans at all, as in he's not going to be there, which I think is a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
Once they realized they couldn't get John, they were like, we got to do something with Theory.
Maybe
that was the move.
We know what they got to do. Theory needs to win, like how we said. So that's what needs to happen. But anyway,
we've blown the budget a lot tonight, so we got to keep it tight because we got Video Bros coming up at 10 o'clock with us, and we had Bobby Sharp on. We spent Spencer's money, so we're going to touch on AEW a little bit, but we did deep dive a lot into it last night on AES, so check that out.
I was going to say, really, the main thing I wanted to talk about was Wardlow. Obviously, he had his crowning achievement last night. He defeated Scorpio Sky in a street fight to open the show to win the TNT Championship. Good for Wardlow. I feel like MJF and everything that went around the Double or Nothing thing kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails for Wardlow. He was obviously you could make an argument he was the most over guy in the company going into that match. And then all the news with MJF and all that stuff happened, kind of took a little bit of the luster out for him. He did win the match by basically squashing MJF at Double or Nothing, but still, it felt like everybody was really focused on the MJF part of things, and Wardlow got a little push to the back, But it was great to see him win. I wish Scorpio Sky would have had more meaningful matches on the main television shows a little bit, because he's fantastic and he had a pretty decent run, and his last year has been incredible. But Wardlow is still super over. He's the dude. I'm glad he's the champ. I want to see where it goes. I know we were talking about last night with maybe Miro down the line, Malachi Black, whoever. But this is really Wardlow's first champ. It is his first championship in AEW, his first super duper big opportunity and moment. Yeah, I'm happy for Wardlow. I want to see where it goes. So,
have guy mentioned Gunther versus Bobby. Yeah, we got to get that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the Wardlow thing, I said it a few months back, I think, or when this whole interim thing started. I think he's a prime candidate to hold both the TNT title and the world title at once. I think you could write that story if you wanted to. Super excited for him. Can't wait to see where it goes. I think he's going to squash some fools early, but I think we'll get back to the Cody level of prominence for the TNT title. No disrespect to Scorpio and Sammy, but the hot potato and thing just didn't really work for anybody in that. So
I agree.
Good for him. We got to touch on it before I get into the Star Wars review. Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, Sports Entertainment. That promo was fucking crazy.
It
was insane.
Yeah, there is a full, you can find it on Twitter or on social media or just the interwebs. If you have not seen this, there's a full 3-minute version. I highly suggest going out of your way and watching that promo, because that right there was, in my opinion, the best promo I've seen all year. Easily. Super emotional, super passionate. Good for those guys. I know me and the franchise, who you might be seeing soon. Just saying. Might be seeing the franchise soon. But I know me and my old friend, the franchise, were talking about it. We were high on those two guys when they were Ever-Rise and NXT. Yeah. They had those backstage segments. They were arguably one of, if not the most entertaining thing on the show with those backstage segments. And then WWE got rid of them, whatever.
And they were starting to get traction.
They were starting to build. and build, and then they got rid of them when they, and they let go a lot of people, in 2020, 2021. And I'm glad that they found AEW. They reinvented themselves. They're in a major. If you're with Chris Jericho, you got major TV time. It is what it is. And Jericho obviously sees a lot in them to have them be part of the group. And that promo was just
if Jericho wasn't feeling them, they wouldn't be there.
100%. And that promo was so good.
Who he wants.
Yep.
I will say this just from a personal standpoint in terms of just a human being, like he touched on so many like just even everyday life shit for like normal 9-to-5ers, like picking your job over seeing your son's or daughter's first steps. Like that hits hard because like who has kids work themselves, the loyalty aspect, loyalty to your friends saying, hey, I didn't want to be here because I wanted to be home, but I'm loyal to this man. Chris Jericho is my brother in arms and I'm going to ride or die with him. And he said it. You want to get paid, you got to do big boy shit.
Yeah, you want to make big money, you got to do big boy shit.
And you're going to miss some things if he's willing to sacrifice, because he knows at the end of the day that paycheck is going to help that son. Yeah, he may have missed the first steps, but he's, it just hits on so many levels. Because how many times have you done it? Like, and I know when my kids were younger, I always said like work, and then enjoy them when they're older. But you know what? That time goes quick, and those moments, and it just hits. And I think that is, if not promo of the year now, it is in the top.
Oh my God, it was fantastic, and you can hear the emotion in him. So at some points he can't even finish the sentences. He's emotional, he's crying. He's got the dry, bloody face. It's right after the match. He's
wrestling is fake. Spoiler alert. But like even after a bloody match like that, the
adrenaline is still in him. Yeah. Like the emotion, the adrenaline, that's all in him. And there's a camera in his face, and he's talking about it, and he opens it up saying, hey, he said, my son took his first step last night and I wasn't there. Yeah, and he gets emotional. And then at the end, before the line that stuck out, I know you and I were talking about was, you want to make big money, you got to do big boy shit. But he even says it. He goes, it's okay. I don't regret anything. He goes, that's the life I chose. And he mentions his wife name. He goes, that's the life that she chose. She knows that. I know that. And he mentions his kid name. He said, and Jack will know that, because he'll tell him when he's older. He'll say, hey, this is what I did to give us this life that we have here. And talking about the sacrifices of, it was just, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because I was at work when that was brought to my attention. And I was in the back room, and it started, and there was some commotion, and I had to pause it and be like, I need to be by myself and watch this, because I feel like I'm going to be like, holy shit,
It was like an off night for me in terms of like, I just wasn't really like invested in wrestling at that particular patch of time. I was just, and I happened to see your tweet about it, because I would just happen to pop on Twitter at that moment, and I think I immediately texted you and was like, what? Yeah, this is insane. And I've watched it like 2 or 3 times since, just like getting into like just analyzing it, and it's just well done. But hey, we've got about 7-8 minutes
there left. There's one quick thing. There's a couple quick things I need to say before, because we're going to end it with Star Wars.
Because I haven't done it in like 3 weeks.
Well, one today was officially Paige's last day in WWE. She wrote a Players Tribune article. If you haven't read it, and it's a decent read, like as far as like length, it's on a quick one. But yeah, we've talked about, Paige has been talked about by a lot of people. We're not going to dive into a conversation about her career or anything, but I would like to acknowledge, and I know, we talk about, and I know we're not all thrilled with women's wrestling now, but when women's wrestling was getting that revolution and all those things like that, if it wasn't for Paige was one of the early ones. Paige was before the 4 horsewomen down in NXT. Paige, Emma.
She paved the way for...
So like they were the first 2 down there, Paige and Emma, that really made you see, because you were seeing it, that like, holy crap, these women can have just as good of matches as the dudes. And without Paige, without Emma, and there's a few others, Summer Rae was down there, but without Paige and Emma, specifically Paige, because she was over as hell. She won the friggin' Divas title her first night, beat AJ Lee, who was arguably at that time, AJ Lee was one of the most important people on all of the show, not just the women, but all of the show. She beat her on her first night. Obviously, the career was cut short. She's still only, 25, 26 years old, maybe even. Yeah, she's still super young, but with the injuries. But I just wanted to at least acknowledge Paige because today was her official last day with WWE. And I thought she was really good as the general manager role. I thought that was something they could have done with her for a while. I think she could have been a manager. I did not mind her. She had a short stint running that group. I forget who was in it, but she's the type of character.
It was the submissions. She had Sonya. She had Mandy.
That's right.
And she was with Asuka. As
for a little bit.
She did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I felt like that was a role and an authority role. Those were roles that she could have still given a lot back to the company. But they chose to not use her the last couple of years, and she's going to go out. Hopefully we see her, if she can wrestle again one day, cool. We've seen some people come back.
Absolution of the Kabuki Warrior. Shout out to
That's right. That's right. Absolution. I was trying to think of the name. But I at least wanted to touch on
We're
that.
going into overtime tonight, Bobby and Papa.
Well, is it going to be over 5 minutes for Phantom Menace? It's the worst one.
Because I want to talk about Paige too. I didn't know you were bringing this up. I want to say with her, she came at this perfect time where I was just starting to really get I liked wrestling and I paid attention to it and I was in, but she came at the time where it was fully invested type stuff. And she was one of those, I was always drawn to different. And she had the divas look that they were looking for, but she also could wrestle. She, and perfect with her and AJ Lee. That was amazing way to do it. Because NXT for me wasn't NXT that it is now. So the Paige NXT area I didn't really focus on, but just her on the screen kind of being the anti-diva thing was wonderful. She did a great job. I'm fantastic. I hope whatever she does next, she's successful because I think she's amazing talker, personality. She has a hell of a Twitch following. God, I wish I could get Hey, Paige, if you're paying attention, could you throw some of your followers our way? My God.
I know. Incredible.
That's part of the reason I think she left is she wanted to keep doing the Twitch thing.
True. Yeah.
And they didn't want her to
be part of it.
They didn't want her to.
And then real quickly, what? Are you still going? Are you breaking up? And real quickly, R.I.P. James Caan. He died today. Sonny Corleone from The Godfather. I just had to say that. Godfather and Godfather 2. Probably Pluggo hasn't seen him for all we know.
No, I haven't. We'll have to
2 best movies to literally ever be made. But Sonny Corleone, one of the all-time great characters. James Caan obviously was in a ton of other shit, Elf, and there's a million other movies. But he's Sonny Corleone to me, damn it. R.I.P. All right. Play your great Star Wars intro, Alex. Let's talk about this terrible movie, Phantom Menace, and then let's get out of here.
Pluggo reviews Star Wars.
Fantastic every time.
I hate that you put me on the screen.
That's Alex. That ain't me, bro.
So admit it. I watched.
Well, let the people know. It's been a few weeks, so there might be new people here. Let them know what this is, what we're doing.
You were on vacation, so I didn't feel like we should do it. And then last week you were back from vacation, and we just had a jam-packed episode, so it got pushed to the side. So every week I'm supposed to watch a new Star Wars. This one I watched Phantom Menace. So we're past the original 3 because I'm watching them chronologically. My first question off the bat, again, I haven't watched it in a couple weeks, is why do they take so damn long in all these movies, knowing that they're bouncing all over the place, to name who these people are? I thought it was Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker as in the early years, but I find out this is Qui-Gon 40 minutes in, and it's Anakin Skywalker. It's not Luke. I thought this was him. And
can I ask you a question? Just as
we're not going to get into it. The baby is Anakin Skywalker. He's not Luke. Where the hell's Luke's little backstory?
Do you know who Anakin Skywalker is?
Yes, the older guy that was Ben Kenobi in the first 3.
All right.
You can pop on screen now.
I'm just because you're wrong. That's not Anakin Skywalker. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're going to find that out.
That's what Mrs. Pluggo kept saying. She watched this with me.
Yeah, but this is before.
Yeah, I'm so confused.
In A New Hope, and Alex will probably know better than me. I'm not going to pretend I'm a I have seen all the movies. I love Star Wars, but I'm not like one of those diving. I don't know all the facts. I'm not one of those.
Neither do I.
I'm a very casual Star Wars lover. All right, relaxed. Don't come for me. In A New Hope, the first movie that you watched, I feel like Luke Skywalker is supposed to be like a kid. Like he's supposed to be like a teenager of sort, like, like 13, 14, 15, 16, like whatever. He's supposed to be
young.
A kid.
He's young in the game.
So this is a prequel that is like,
that's where like,
way back. This is like full,
this is super, because this isn't like, this is, I thought the kid was Luke Skywalker for the first 40 minutes because they don't ever say anybody's name. And then I find out he's Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
you'll find out who that is.
Qui-Gon is like the dude before Ben Kenobi, because he actually,
Qui-Gon is like the master that taught Obi-Wan.
And he's like super,
how to, I think I could be wrong, but Qui-Gon was like Obi-Wan's mentor, which then in the middle movies that you've seen, Obi-Wan is Luke's. Yeah, that's how we're doing.
Fucking like Qui-Gon's like going against the council, like Samuel Jackson and Yoda are like, listen, bro, this kid ain't it. This kid ain't the vibe. And he's like, no, he's the vibe. I believe it. And then he dies to the Sith. That Sith dude is badass.
Oh, Darth Maul? Yeah.
Darth Maul. How does he take the L? Because that dude had, and by the way, he's doing the dual sword thing. How does he never just like cut his shit?
Because he's a fucking Jedi.
Dude,
Sith Lord. He's a Sith Lord. That's why.
Was my favorite so far.
So far of all of them?
So far of all of them, I like that one the most.
So for me, Phantom Menace, it was very, don't get me wrong, there are fight scenes and things like that, but it was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Dialogue heavy. Very dialogue heavy for me, Phantom Menace. It's just, it's giving you a lot of information. A lot of information.
All this Star Wars talk, Hab guy, I'm still confused. I'm 4 movies into the series, and I still don't know what's going on.
I cannot wait till you find out who Anakin Skywalker is.
That's what my wife said. She's like, just wait. This will all make sense. And I'm sick of waiting. Like, I wanted to all.
Well, you got another 2 movies.
But I will say this, and I'm not saying it because it's the popular thing to say, but Jar Jar Binks basically, like, for 2 hours of the movie was useless.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think he was a bad character. I didn't think I didn't hate the guy. I just kept going like, why are you here? Like, what is your purpose?
I think they were trying, because these movies came out in the early 2000s, so I think they were just trying to introduce, like, let's have a newer, like, funner, like this version of C-3PO kind of, like, let's have that quirky.
I felt like they were trying to get on the Jurassic Park, like,
maybe
because he's kind of dinosaur-esque, and it's
maybe. You'll notice he's around in the next couple movies you're gonna watch, but he is a way.
What kind of mother just says go ahead and go? Like, I know she was a slave, but like she was just like,
she probably didn't have a choice. She was like, they're gonna kill you if you stay here, so get the hell out of here.
And this dude was just gambling this kid's future with that goofy looking shop guy. And then, like,
what'd you think about the pod race?
The pod races were cool, like, but again, like, the kid just on a whim, they're just like, this is the kid, and he almost lost it. What if he would have died? Like, how bad would that movie? If Qui-Gon would have felt like shit, would he just been like, it is what it is? But like, I didn't mind the pod races. I thought it was all right.
No, I thought it was look at
it's starting to get more like production value, obviously, because it's 10 years.
Longer than that. So the original movies were in the 70s.
But like I said, that Sith thing, or that Darth Maul
Maul was badass.
I was confused as to, like, all right, where's Darth Vader? Like, Darth Maul's here. Is he Darth Vader before Darth Vader? Like, is he one of his just dudes? And he's taking. I'm trying to.
You're gonna find. Trust me. You're gonna find.
What's the next one? I don't even know what it's called.
Attack of the Clones. That one is a very. In my opinion, Attack of the Clones is worse than Phantom Menace. I think Attack of the Clones is the war, in my opinion, and Alex probably has a different opinion. I know he's a big Star Wars guy, so if he wanted to hop in the last 2 minutes before we get out of here. But in my opinion, Attack of the Clones is the worst of the 9. The worst of the 9. That's just me.
It's been a while since I've watched the prequels, but I'm just going to say this. Pluggo.
Do not give anything away, Alex. I will. You'll no.
Let it play out.
I'm saying this is
Let it play out.
This is almost 10 hours of my life, because they're not 2 hours even, and everybody's just like, let it. You'll get it. You'll get it.
You will.
No, yeah. imagine this, right? You're watching these all sort of in a row. We, as people who originally watched them,
we had to wait 30 years.
Yeah, we had to wait years in between.
We had to wait 30 years and then another 15 for the new ones.
Yeah. I thought it was a mistake to kill Qui-Gon. I liked him. He was
cool.
Liam
Neeson. I mean, how can you not? How can you not?
They killed him off.
Bro.
That's what I'm saying. They killed the dude off. He was the most OG of all the damn Jedi Knights so far.
Liam Neeson had to go get taken or something.
Yeah, I see what he did there.
But listen,
all right. On that note,
of the 4 so far, it wasn't the least. Like I didn't enjoy the last one as much as I enjoyed this one. I had a little, maybe it's because I was watching it with Mrs. Pluggo and she was having fun with it. But I definitely enjoyed. I like where this story might end up over these 3, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, all right, I'm moving on.
Well, we got our friend the Genius saying, I was always under the impression that the Jedi and Sith disappeared hundreds of years ago, not like 25 years before. True. It's true. And he also said earlier when I said my RIP to James Caan, he said he was in the original Thunderball.
Yes. Well, on that note,
we're 5 minutes past.
Again. Yes. Spencer's gonna kill us. Bobby and Papa Smokes are gonna kill us.
Sorry,
Stay
Bobby.
tuned.
Sorry,
if you're
Papa
in the chat, if you're in the chat, stay tuned. Major Love Wrestling, your in-depth analysis of all things Major League Wrestling, ML Dub, as I like to say. Lots of friends of the show on that. Alex Kane, Alicia, to make sure you stay tuned to that. Plug our shit. We are Between Two Beards on Twitter, at B2Beards, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias. TikTok, we're killing it over there too. You can see me, Pluggo, at Pluggo_ on all the social medias. Alex, the Ecto guy, he's the dude that does our clips. He's been slaying it. Tell him what you got going on, Alex, real quick, since you're on screen.
Clipping and videos and
clipping.
These boys put me to work every week, and then I got more behind the scenes that I need to do. So clipping.
Us look good.
Yeah. All right, Pluggo, let the people know where they can find you, and then we're going to get out of here.
I just did. Do you even watch the show?
I did. I thought you handed it off to Alex first.
Let it plug out, bro. Let it plug out.
Let it plug out, baby.
Yeah.
You plug your
man,
stuff.
I cannot wait until we have the Star Wars Pluggo review where you find it out. When you find it out, that's going to be a time.
Is it next week?
No, it's going to be in 2 weeks, but you're going to find it out.
That's if he keeps the schedule.
Oh, yeah, so we're going to have to wait till post SummerSlam because I'm not going to be here SummerSlam week because I will be in Nashville seeing Austin Theory win the title without lifting up a finger. Do it, fucking Vince. Do it. Do it. Anyway, I'm JPJ. You can find me at Joseph_Poulin Jr. here. You can follow us at, I know Plug already said it, but B2Beards everywhere. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Wrestling on Facebook. On Twitch, I've been streaming MLB The Show. Getting back to the regular things, going to be streaming a lot coming up in the future. And Pluggo and I, you might see us at some point this weekend. We might be ripping some packs. I know Alex said he wants to be in on it, so we'll try to figure out a time slot and see when we're not. We don't want to, step on anyone else's toes here at Love Wrestling. We got a lot of people doing a lot of great things. Mrs. Pluggo's away this weekend, so we might have a window where I bought some wrestling card packs and things. So I think we're going to be doing some pack opening. So be on the lookout. Follow us at B2Beards on Twitter. We'll update everybody with all that information. As always, Alex, thank you for controlling the chat and doing all the comments on the screen and stuff like that and producing the show. Yeah. Big thank you to Bobby Sharp for giving us a whole hour of his time. He was awesome. We will be having him back at some point in the future. He was a great guest. If you didn't watch that, watch Major Love Wrestling and then go back and watch that chat because it was a good chat. He's been doing it for 20 years, one of the most longest standing Canadian professional wrestlers there are. So go give him support at Lion Warrior, and we want to thank him for coming on. But for Alex, Ecto Guy, for Pluggo, for myself, JPJ, until next Thursday, peace out.
Boo my yay! Boo my yay! Alex Kane all day, baby.
Yeah.